Welcome, our star AoE4 guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come for the Age of Empires 4 Grand Final.
MarineLorD. He is the standard by which all others are measured. On every stage he played, he somehow managed to turn it into his personal throne room. And today he's not just going to play for a trophy. He is here to prove that in the world of Age of Empires 4, there is only space for one king. His challenger, Wam, a Canadian anchor who refused to drift in Londinium. He earned his place, he earned to play on stage, and he is ready to take it all.
My friends, please welcome to the stage the first grand finalist, MarineLorD! And his opponents, Wam!
Right, before the games get going, we do have a very important process that happens between these two players, the draft.
The formidable draft, and I'm so excited that we get to watch this live. We're gonna have the admin on stage with them, picking as they go. You can see their notebooks, they're looking ready. It's all smiles and giggles from them both, but it is about to get serious.
And no popcorn was spilled on the way walking out onto the stage, so nice job by Wam there, but this is going to be cool. Obviously, we can't go into great super detail if any of these players had special tactics planned, but we get to see all those flags, all those maps, and first map between these two, Hill and Dale, picked by MarineLorD. Now, I'm not entirely, we actually haven't seen this map at all in the tournament, so maybe thinking he's got something special planned amidst those. Is that a Holy Island over there?
Are these banned?
I have no idea, honestly, but when it comes to water, these guys know how to play it. The thing is, these guys have actually been practice partners up to this event. Seeing as they were on other sides of the bracket, who better to play with than the other best player in the world? It's kind of like a J-Dong and Flash situation happening in 2026.
You can see Wam eyeing up his next selection here. Socotra.
And obviously both these players have put a lot of thought into what they're good at and what potentially their opponent isn't so good at. Now that's hard to say when they're both pretty much men of iron at this point, right? But they are both very, very formidable opponents. And what have we got over here? Kawasan. Now I wonder if those are the two bans from him and it's the middle ones getting picked. That's something that I should have known beforehand.
Indeed, and it looks like that is the case, right? Holy Island, Hill and Dale banned out, Dry Arabia and Socotra have been selected, two very just land-based aggressive maps. We've seen successful play from both of them on all these maps. Baldland, the next ban from Wam.
So far, denying some of the weird maps that we haven't seen so far, such as Holy Island, Kawasan. I mean, Baldland we've seen quite a bit, but we haven't seen Kawasan either. Frisian Marsh is picked now from MarineLorD, a very good hybrid map. Socotra, obviously by Wam, very aggressive. Front range also by Wam. So if I'm looking at this draft right now and I'm thinking, okay, what are the aggressive maps? Pretty much all of them. Like absolutely all of them. And then, is that gonna be King of the Hill first to get things going? That's gonna be exciting.
I love a good King of the Hill game, and yeah, man, Frisian Marshes as well has just been delivering excellent matches in this tournament so far. The semifinals were both fire, and this is gonna be fireworks for sure.
I always wonder what the players have in those little notebooks, you know?
I like to think MarineLorD just has pictures of fun animals.
I know MarineLorD, he's going to have like so many flames of me going on in there, you know, like, here, this, do this. But no, this is going to be very exciting to see because both these players have had civs that they're obviously really good with and have been good with for a long time. Wam's draft was actually very interesting against Vortex. A lot of the players kind of unanimously said, he's picking a lot of civs that aren't necessarily regarded as the GOAT civs right now, but he was making them work, and he made them look incredibly strong, and then he had a backstory to it. Well, whenever I played Puppy Paw, he picked this, and he was great with it. Now, that can be a little bit awkward to play, especially if you are a meta trendsetter like MarineLorD, but they both know what the other one's good at. They both know what they want to go for.
Yeah, and there's going to be, I think, a lot of competition for the high S-tier civs for these land maps. This is a very similar whole section. Chinese probably the first ban here.
Does look like it. First ban for Wam. Now, I kind of know what he's been banning this tournament. He's kind of stuck with it a little bit. MarineLorD had a very different philosophy on his banning, and he's going to ban Abacid. I tell you what, for those out there that don't know AoE4 all so well, Abacid has been highly regarded as quite a bad civ.
But just yesterday, his games against Vortex, he showed that Abacid is insane when used correctly. I suspect MarineLorD just saw that game and said, well, I can just ban that out and not have to deal with this problem at all.
Ah, and it is going to be English banned as well. So that means Socotra, can't go English on there. When you do a ban like this, it's a global ban situation. So MarineLorD gone for some fairly weak civs, but they do have obvious uses and situations. We saw Frisian Marshes with Abacid, English on Socotra, getting rid of those, and Byzantine for Wam.
I find that very interesting because I think Wam has really prioritized picking Byzantines himself throughout this tournament, especially in the qualifiers. I think he picked Byzantines most of his sets. So I'm a little surprised to see that.
It can come into play that, okay, it's not a civ that I'm necessarily, you know, willing to let my opponent have with what's available. And a global ban situation, it's not just banning for your opponent, you ban for both of you. Now, MarineLorD going for 2 weaker civ bans, Wam going for 2 stronger civ bans. This still means it's a lot of good civs and good choices to put out there. And I mean, there are certain situations like front range, very good for Byzantine. It does have a lot of berries available. First civ chosen by MarineLorD is going to be Ottoman. They have been highly versatile recently, very good early game, and they just get better as the game goes on. But counter choice, Malian. Now this is a civ that's been on the up, and players are just getting better and better with it.
Yeah, I mean, I view it as maybe amongst the S tiers. I think it is arguably the best civ, depending on the map. We've seen it played on a variety of these maps. We see Sengoku picked second for Wam. Those are 2 good civs.
Those are amazing civs. Like if you go with the combo that you're going to play a map and you get to pick both of those, and you're picking the lesser of 2 evils, well, it still feels really bad going up against either one of those. So I'm very much curious. We still have Zushi available, we still have French available, but French doesn't like to really go into Malian, so maybe thinking, all right, what does like to go into these bad boys? I think that's Ayabid getting picked, and Ayabid also very flexible here. So we do see that Sengoku Malian, a bit more regimented, a bit more set in stone about how they're going to approach a game. Granted, you can be different still, but Ayabid and Ottoman, they can literally do anything to get the game going.
That might even be a slight denial. Not that MarineLorD's any bad with Ayubids, but the point I was about to make is that Wam loves to play Ayubids, and it might have been picking it to kind of open up the French pick and not get that really tough matchup of French into Ayubids.
Yeah, I mean, very often players, Japanese was still left on the table. And so that is cool, because very often that's been a very primary pick for players. Now, given that it's already been picked, I do know that MarineLorD has been looking at Japan and been thinking, you know what, it's beatable. Like, you know, it has these definite situations. Golden Horde as well for Wam. Now, this has seen a massive burst on the pro scene. Lots of players love it. Lots of players hate to go up against it. Very awkward. It is the kind of civ that, yeah, it can get bullied in the Dark Age a little bit, but once it gets riding, it has an Age 3 massive power spike with +2 range armor on all your heavy units. And early on as well, it's just producing a darn lot.
Yeah, interestingly, we've been seeing it picked a lot on Baldwin. There's some pretty clear strategies there that Golden Horde goes for, so I'm interested to see where he ends up putting it. We've also seen it in front range throughout this tournament, so that could be a nice place for Wam there. And Macedonian Dynasty for MarineLorD is picked next.
Ooh, and it does look like Zhu Shi is going to get picked as well. We've seen that actually quite a bit from Puppy-Paw, Wam's brother. He's utilized that a lot on maps like Frisian Marshes. Now, it was very much a fast castle civ, but we've seen the Imperial official early on be very good about getting some early game tempo, and this is one of those fun choices by Wam. It didn't work out yesterday, but it was a bit of an unusual game, an unusual start, maybe unfortunate you could say, but not one of the greatest civs out there, and Turklak being picked as well. I think Wam's draft is exceptionally fun. I don't know how, like, if I'm against that draft, and granted these players are far better than me, if I'm against that draft, I'm already thinking, this can be a bit tricky. It definitely can. So initially I was like, okay, they're fairly rigid civ choices, but then it's like, whoa, throwing a real curveball out there, and what's MarineLorD going to go for last? Because he has to think, okay, maybe Ottoman's good against Malian, what's good against Japanese, maybe it's French to some degree if you stop the game from going. Macedonia can be awkward as well. Lots of choices here.
Yeah, and just to explain a bit how the civ selection will work for each map, both players are going to select 2 civs, and then there's going to be a blind snipe on one of the enemy 2 civs. So you kind of pick what you want to play against, but since it's blind, you're not fully controlling the matchup.
The Frenchman going with Jean d'Arc as his 6th and final pick. Now, MarineLorD, since the beginning of AoE4 time, which is like 5 years ago, he has been exceptionally good with his French Knight civs. Jean d'Arc saw quite a bit of usage on maps like Frisian as well, with the docks and all that. And yeah, we've got a lineup between these two, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and yes, got to say again, thank you to the orchestra for giving us such a good back setting here. This feels so good. And
My friends, I don't know about you, but standing there listening to Schamberger for minutes and minutes on end, it took me back 25 or more years to those glory days of yesteryear. My friends, put your hands together. Please thank once again the London Contemporary Orchestra with conductor Robert Ames, Robert Ames. Winston and Demu, back to you, my friends. Take us home.
time for us to look at what the first draft will be between these two. As Winston said, there is going to be 2 civs picked between both these players. Now, it's a best of 5, meaning that you won't be able to play all of them, but you don't want to get yourself into a situation where if it gets to the final map, your last 2 civ picks are potentially one that's very doable, very easy to beat on that map. And then obviously your strong one is going to get absolutely sniped off the board, and then you may be in a very unfortuitous situation. So King of the Hill, if I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, what's good on that for MarineLorD? Zhu Shi, obviously very good with relic play, Meditation Garden can go in a nice spot. Ottoman also with a bit of tempo, but Wam's been so good about closing off the map and making it smaller against these strong cavalry civs. And he's been one of the players that's been most prominently utilizing spearmen as well. Now, if you just think about like a clash of styles, Wam with a lot of spears, but MarineLorD's been loving the archers through and through. I'm genuinely curious what they're both going to go for here.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic here. We've seen Macedonians also picked on Frisian as well later on. Ayubids feels like it could be pretty flexible. I'm a little... What are you thinking here for MarineLorD's Socotra pick? Because maybe lacking the best civs there. I mean, you have a Ayubid.
Actually, we're going to hear from somebody far better than me about this. We're going to hear from Puppy-Paw himself, what he feels about the draft.
We are indeed. Please give it up for Puppy-Paw. Puppy-Paw. A little over a year ago, you found yourself in the same position as your brother right now, playing against MarineLorD. How does it feel to be on the outside looking in today, seeing your brother here?
I'm really proud of him. I think he's improved a lot in the past few years, especially. I'm excited for how he's going to do today. I always believe in him. Yeah, I think he has a very good chance.
It's great to have someone like you having your back in the crowd. Now, we just got to watch the draft. Do you have any initial thoughts after seeing that draft?
MarineLorD is going with a lot of civs and maps that he's played previously in these sets, so he's going with consistency and what he feels comfortable with. Wam, he's definitely mixing it up. He banned different maps than he did versus Vortex. He picked civs that he didn't pick versus Vortex, so I think he's trying to throw MarineLorD off his game a bit. Yeah, I think he's got a few things planned.
All right. You would know best. I see we helped him prep a little bit for this as well. Did you guys like huddle up together yesterday and go over some stuff?
A little bit, yeah. Maybe we could have prepared a bit more, but ultimately, you can't prepare for everything, and you just kind of have to play in the moment.
Well, and we will see him doing just that. Puppy Ball, thank you so much. Once again, let's hear it for Puppy Ball. Back to our casters.
Yeah, I like what Puppy Paw said there. Wam has definitely got something up his sleeve a little bit here. Even going for the Tucklack pick, which Vortex picked against him yesterday, maybe feeling that if Vortex didn't make a few of those little errors, such as picking the Food Governor, that, hey, there's actually some potential behind this. And MarineLorD, he's very good with a lot of the civs that he's picked, so a lot of comfort picks. I totally agree with Puppy Paw.
Yeah, I think Puppy Paw may have been pretty reserved there tactically. I think he really didn't want to give away what Wam was thinking. He's saying, oh, just throw off MarineLorD's game a bit. I have a feeling they have quite a bit prepared here. They're not the type to come unprepared. They practice a lot together, and they certainly have practiced for this event a lot.
They certainly have. And I mean, Wam is one of MarineLorD's main practice partners for this tournament. So I brought this up earlier that there was a time in StarCraft Brood War history that Jaedong and Flash were both the best two players in the world. Nobody else was good enough. Like, they practiced with them, but they'd practice with each other before the finals of Grand Finals, which is so funny to think about. But these two players, they are here in the Grand Finals. And I do believe very soon we're going to hear from the players themselves about what they think.
I'm very excited to be in London for the World Championship, obviously. It's like the biggest event of the year, so I have to win.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be in London. I'm always happy to come to these events.
I can't wait to play in the Royal Albert Hall. I feel like people are going to be all around us, like a Coliseum kind of, which is very sick.
I always practice as much as possible, and besides that, I'm always focused on the game.
I'm making sure I sleep properly, eat properly, and I'm just always ready to play.
Yeah, my favorite civs at the moment are Byzantines and Mongols. Civs that I'm not familiar with as much are the Knight civs, French, John d'Arc. I try to avoid as much as possible, but my opponents are typically very, very strong with them.
I think my favorite civ is probably the French. So not because I'm French, but it's also a very aggressive play style I really like.
At the moment, I think I can take anybody. I try to never have expectations, to be honest. I find that no expectations makes me play a lot better. I think everyone imagines winning, and it would be extremely amazing for me. I haven't had the chance to win a Red Bull tournament yet.
I've won the first World Championship, I won the second one, and this is the third one. So obviously I'm clearly here to win, and yeah, I'm ready.
Super cool to hear from both of those guys. MarineLorD, he has been a world champion multiple times now, looking to make it a three-peat here. Wam, for a long time in AoE4, is kind of living under the shadow of Puppy Paw. But in terms of like recent history over the past 6 months, Wam's been on fire. Like I'm well and truly excited to see what he's going to bring to the table here, because so far, nerves haven't been affecting him. Like, they really haven't. He's gone up against titans like Vortex here, and even put in weird situations, and Vortex is not a comfortable opponent to go up against. He was flawless. Everything he did, it was really clean to watch.
Yeah, besides maybe a little bit on that HRE game, but the rest of it yesterday was simply phenomenal, and I think we're going to see more of that today. He's been practicing, he's been sharp. Did you notice, he also just said in that interview, Byzantines are his favorite civ. It really makes me wonder what kind of mind games are at play here, immediately banning that out. He also did not pick Mongols even on the table here. Could be map draft, could be mind games.
Yeah, I feel like map draft-wise, there's a few answers there to Mongols that make you feel like, okay, this isn't going to be the best. And I mean, there's maps banned like Kawasan, where Mongol do like to play. They like to get those arrow slits going, having early units out on the field. But when it comes down to the finals, there are things that both these players have probably had in their pocket for a little bit of time. And I was sat with MarineLorD at breakfast a few days ago, and he talked about his practice with Wam, and he said it was always really close. And I was like, and this is not a humble man, by the way. Yeah. Like, he would tell me if he was winning, if he was winning 3-1 every time, he'd be like, yeah, it's 3-1. But like, no. He was being very, very genuine. So I think the player that he was most scared of going into this tournament, he's up against now in the final. Yeah, and certainly I think that's going to be the case. We've seen Wam really performing well. I just want to get into the games, Demu. I'm very, very curious how this is going to go between these guys. Because, I mean, MarineLorD, he is a guy that people have said, very meta base, but very often he's the one setting the meta. And then it's like, okay, he stays in feudal for longer than other players, and he can do aggression, he can defend, he can pretty much do it all, which does make him an incredibly hard opponent to go up against. I know he's had rivalries with players such as Beastie in the past, which have, you know, gone all the way, and it's like the master of defending against just the master in general. But Wam has really showcased that he is not a one-trick pony either. He hasn't been winning through sheer tricks. It's been all-round solid play. So when it comes to these two guys, it's like playing two mirror-like players, you know? They're both just good at it all. Yeah, I think Wam, you know, historically, people may have looked back at earlier stages of his career in Age of Empires 4 and said he might have been more favored as a defensive player as well, similar to maybe how people viewed Beastie. With Wam walls, Wam trade. Wam walls. Yeah, exactly. These more passive strategies. But I think what has led to his success and what leads him here today has been an immense diversification of strategy and depth, a mastery over the draft system, which I hope we'll get to see and see how that plays out here, because exactly, there are some surprises here potentially. I think there could be some really interesting strategies that we haven't really considered. Once again, that HRE pick is maybe a question mark. Is there another plan in play here that could just elevate this to something we haven't seen yet? Absolutely could be. I mean, we also have to think about like some civs that weren't picked that are still quite strong. Delhi, for example, we saw that in a lot of previous games. But MarineLorD's draft, having Ottoman and French as two of your first three, picking Delhi against that is really rough. So there's been a lot of like denial civ picks as well. And you talked about how Byzantine was banned by Wam despite being one of his most comfortable. I'm just so curious about what matchups they want to avoid here. Because if you're Zushi, you don't want to play against Malian. You really don't. Do you want to play against Japan with Zushi? Probably not either. So what are you trying to save that up for? What kind of situation? And same with Jeanne d'Arc. They absolutely don't want to go against Malian, nor does French, but you can potentially deny Malian the whole way through. And then it's about what do you couple with it? What do you force your opponent to play against you? It's going to be very awkward. And on a Wam side of things, what doesn't he want HRE against, for example? Well, I look at it, I'm like, he doesn't want HRE against anything, honestly, but he's been playing HRE, he feels comfortable with it. I spoke to him in private as well, and he was like, I think people sleep on HRE quite a bit. And I mean, the fact that Tuklak is picked as well, that's a big surprise for me. Yeah, historically, I mean, even running into this tournament, we saw Tuklak being viewed as quite dominant on a lot of these hybrid maps, right, where they can make use of the fish and dock and get that whole economy set up, and it really sort of played well into their style. But yesterday we saw Vortex try Tuklak on the land, and he said there's some strategies here that players are not really exploring enough yet, and he was willing to bring it out in the semifinals of this tournament. So he was that confident in the practice. It didn't work out for him yesterday, but maybe Wam had some ideas, maybe Wam had some similar thoughts going into it, and we could see Tuklak being a threat on several of these maps as well. We really could. And I mean, Tuklak, they are the elephants available. They can be decent. Like, they don't want to go up against an Ottoman, I imagine. As soon as that game progresses, it can get rough. Do they want to get... Like, what is Tuklak's weaknesses? When I think about it, I'm like, quite a lot, actually. They really don't want to be against a very feudal heavy civ that can punish that early fort, because that's the build that a lot of players go for. Macedonia, what doesn't that want to run into? Ah, Louis MT. Yeah, we love him too. He's back on the ladder now, by the way, and practicing, so that's really awesome to see. Oh, he'll be back at a Red Bull soon then. Golden Horde as well. I mean, there's awkward matchups here on the board. Macedonia is obviously one that's been very prevalent. We've seen it quite a bit on front range. They are able to take quite a lot of food early on, getting that Golden Horn Tower in the middle, the center of the map, meaning you have to go all the way around or be kind of weird about it, really slowing down the game to get out a lot of Radari. But the French picks, those can be annoying. Like, you'd love to have French against HRE on the correct kind of map. Maybe on a Frisian, though, where French has been getting picked quite a bit. Honestly, there's a lot of question marks in my head over the drafts between these two players.
Oh, some love for Beastie in the crowd as well. Can we get a round of applause for everybody here today? Oh yeah, look at all those beautiful smiling people. Hello everybody.
It is great to be here at the Royal Albert Hall in London for the Red Bull Wololo. This is...
Should we try it? The Red Bull, what was that, Demu? Wololo.
Oh, I just did the sound for me.
Aw. What about the Red Bull Wololo? Oh, look how he did it. Are you proud?
I'm so proud of you, Winston.
Thank you.
Production wasn't quite ready for me.
No.
I was like, I can't reel.
I'm keeping them on their toes.
I can't reel off
Gotta keep
guard
them
for
on
that, you
their
know. I'm
toes.
only a replacement, okay? But yeah, this is going to be very fun to see what happens here. I mean, a lot of time going into this draft between these guys. I do know that MarineLorD, when he sets up his draft, he's often writing down the maps in Notepad, getting each map listed down as to what he would like to play, what he would like to set up. So a lot of thought can go into it. Duck mod.
There's advertisements. Look at all the cool hats, too.
Idle Villager, I like that one as well, the t-shirt.
Get him to work.
And MarineLorD looking patient, but also a bit like, let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, he's ready. This is game time for him.
I've been doing the homework, I've done all the practice, now it's time to show off my stuff. And yeah, you might notice he sits quite funny with that mouse and keyboard. He's one of the few players that I know that actually does that, with the keyboard in front, the mouse very much to the side. But I tell you what, he makes it work, and maybe my little boy might make him play a little bit like MarineLorD if I want him to be an RTS champ.
Train him young, you know, to get really good at RTS. You got to start really early nowadays.
Yeah, you certainly do, you certainly do. With the neck popping, the relaxing. What has this man got to show us?
Oh, the finger crack? Oh, he's ready.
Wam is looking very calm. To say he is regarded as the underdog, not by a great amount, but you're against the goat of AoE4. He's looking incredibly calm. And he's also the younger player, the less experienced player. I mean, oh, I see Ottoman on the board there. Is that Aya bid as well?
Overloading it.
Granted, I'm looking at a very small monitor here from very, very far away, but already that could be quite spicy here on King of the Hill.
And it looks like we're just moments away. Whoa, an eagle and a jaguar. Whoa, so cool. Hello.
Hi, yeah, we spotted you. Okay, I think in a few moments here, we are going to get into this game, and what a final this should be. It's lined up to be a good one. I mean, we had semi-finals that were pretty darn decent, but so far these players have gone untouched. Is the other one? I just hope we have close games, Winston. I hope we have close games.
I
some
think
good
we're gonna have
StarCraft,
close
or rather
games.
some good AoE4.
I think we're about to have some very nice games, Demu, and I am so excited.
We do see the players are in game here.
Yeah, we're just doing a quick confirmation, making everything's all set, and then we'll get that up for us.
So a little bit of downtime here.
What a stage, Demu. What a stage. What a place to be for an Age 4 tournament, huh?
It's beautiful. I'm glad they've got MarineLorD in red as well as kind of the evil one. Makes me think of like Star Wars, the bad guy, and then the blue guy, Luke Skywalker coming to dethrone him kind of thing. It's a good vibe. It's a good vibe.
Yeah, MarineLorD going for the three-peat, you know?
I mean, that's insane.
It would be crazy. Several years of dominance at the highest of levels. It seems that whenever the stakes are high, he just always has seemed to show up. And so I'm super keen to see how Wam will handle this, how Wam will move forward. I mean, even after this event, whatever the result, I think we're going to be expecting these two to be battling against each other in the future. After the recent success of Wam, I think this is just going to be incredible for the scene.
Yeah, I've got this like dark thought in the back of my mind that the previous Wololos, where MarineLorD was in the finals, he dismantled the Mr. 4-0 in that first Heidelberg final. Then he dismantled Puppy Paw 3-0. I just hope it's not going to be the same kind of situation between these guys, but the kind of gameplay that Wam has been showcasing, it shouldn't be so easy for him, but yeah, a little bit of moments here.
Yeah, it just looks like we have a quick pause here to handle something. And then the players, oh man, Wam's face, he just looks so locked in.
Super locked in, super focused.
Hello.
Yeah, apologies for this, guys. Games will start as soon as possible. You never know, it's live, right? So certain things can appear. We'll keep you guys updated as moments do pass. Saw a little bit of flex over there from Wam. And hands in the air. And hearts. Winston, when was the last time you actually saw these two duke it out?
Last time I saw them duke it out at a LAN.
Anytime, really.
I mean, in the qualifiers, no? And on ladder games?
They didn't play in the qualifier.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
No, they didn't play in the qualifier, right.
I guess that is something we can bring up. So MarineLorD qualified the first week. Oh, we're into the game here.
Let's begin.
That's what we want. That's what we want. It is going to be King of the Hill to get things going. MarineLorD will be spawning as the blue Ottoman player, although maybe he should be red. That is his color on stage. And we have Wam spawning as the Ayubid player. Now, King of the Hill, definitely an unusual map. Big things about this map, it's only got one sacred site bang in the middle. This very much promotes a lot of play around sacred site control. We see a lot of players go for towers around there, they grab it early. Both these civs can go. In fact, it's Golden Horde. I was getting that incredibly wrong. Golden Horde versus Ottoman. Okay. This is already far different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, this is a very interesting matchup to be choosing on this map. I wonder how much the snipes came into play. Maybe Wam wanting to just get Ottomans maybe a little out of the way early in the series. They are viewed as one of the most dominant civs, mostly because of that Spahi in the Feudal Age and just that intense production bonus that they get early Feudal all the way through Castle Age. They just build this massive army, which might work to MarineLorD's favor here, as that central sacred site can prove to be a victory condition in and of itself.
By the way, I have to mention this. There's a barracks and a military school already out for MarineLorD. So one thing we talked about Golden Horde, they do not like to be attacked early on, specifically in the Dark Age. They have two very exposed resources, one being gold, the other being an Uvu itself. Oh, and I believe we're having a
quick pause.
We're giving the game I've been getting spoke to by production here. We're giving the game a slight pause here because it was stuttering a little bit, and that will fix it clean up. And whoa!
Whoa, he's running!
That is some fast lads over there. And MarineLorD immediately still producing some spearmen here out of the military school, but we do have a tech already on the go. So may lose a couple of buildings here, but this is one of the strengths of Ottoman. They really can mix it up a lot. Well, I'm going to go for an early tower as a retort here, but he has to be careful. When a building is being produced, it takes double the amount of damage. And I tell you what, that is not a small amount, and you see Wam reacting to this, realizing, oh, whoa, you're actually going for it? Okay. And I tell you what, that's a lot of lost gathering time.
Yeah, that's a lot of villagers pulled, but it's really essential that these two early spots are really covered. You can't let the gold go down. You really can't let the Uvu go down for free. You have to try and defend it, but this is going to be a challenge. There's no real resources near this, so garrisoning that outpost in order to defend this villager is actually going to be tricky, right? The scout hops in, one arrow available, but at any point these spearmen might just be able to run at this villager. The villager has a bit of ways to go to get to that outpost. Could be an opportunity for some dancing here from MarineLorD, but he might just be content with the damage he's dealt so far.
I think he's going to be all right about this. I'm wondering if Wam's going to go for an early, well, actually he has no gold for arrow slits on that tower, so that would definitely help with keeping all this alive. Right now he has no access to units to deal with that. MarineLorD's tech behind this is obviously delayed, but he can't be too sad with having a bunch of spears out in the field, given that one of the units you're inevitably going to be against is the Batu Khan and his Torgans. Spear's pretty all right against those.
Yeah, but Batu's much better than a single, so Marine gonna have to run away with this one or just take him down fighting. the little bit of chip damage, but not the biggest deal for Batu Khan. He can handle it.
Yeah, Batu Khan will be able to regenerate when more Torguds do join the field, so not too big of an issue for him. And I tell you what, that Uvu does stay alive for now. Seeing that there is an archery range done, I do believe MarineLorD got to scout that. That's already a nice move for him, because as soon as you forced your opponent to making a defensive slow unit like an archer or spears, you then have a bit more map control. The things you have to worry about are when Keshiks come out or more Torguds. Now, you can't delay the Torguds more than he has done, because the Uvu didn't die. But now he's hit his age up now. I'm very curious about what he's going to go for. Immediately starting production with the meta on that military school as well, getting the upgrade for the spearman. Ah, nice play.
Yeah, and I think the big question is, when do we see the stable for the Spahi? Well, answered immediately. MarineLorD wants to waste no time getting to that unit. It is viewed by many as just one of the strongest units in the game, considering when it's available, how it's available. The blacksmith there to increase that production speed of those buildings nearby. The woodline is a little exposed, but of course these spearmen in perfect position from MarineLorD. Wham was trying to sneak by and just maybe try and snipe a Vil here, but MarineLorD having none of it.
No, he's very well set up defensively, so he was on the front foot, if you will, just making sure he can slow down his opponent, deal a little bit of damage. Wham handled it pretty darn well. Definitely got slowed down a little bit, but we do see immediately going for the play that he was doing very well against Vortex, making the map smaller for himself. So immediately negating one angle of attack, protecting that deer pack as well, and protecting the Uvu, the second Uvu, and the primary Uvu as well.
Yeah, it's a great wall location. I think that's going to really help cut off the map and keep things pretty streamlined for him. Of course, MarineLorD might attack this location, but I don't know, it's pretty far out of the way. The spearmen going to get caught out a little bit by the Khan and his bodyguards, the Torguds. So a few units going to go down here. A little chip damage back for MarineLorD, but Wham probably going to be happy with this as an opening so far. Taken not too much damage, gotten things opened up. We can see a massive units from MarineLorD has moved out. The spearmen are not at home to defend. They are going towards this wall spot, which means that the gold villagers have to get pulled back. Wham counterattacking, poking, prodding, but that wall he just built under threat.
Certainly is, and one of the Sipahi here also taking a little bit of a beating. Now, there's a few things that happen there. MarineLorD focused his attacks on the Torguds. Those guys do not regenerate, so that was a nice play out of him. He's going for a spearman, Sipahi comp, now throwing down the archers. Now that is going to be fun for him, seeing the archers are already out on the map. Both these civs are not scared of sticking in feudal, actually, which is cool, because we could see a situation that both of them stay for feudal way longer than other civs on this map, which is highly unusual. And who do I favor? Well, it's actually weird. I do think that Golden Horde is one of the civs that doesn't get bullied by Ottoman as hard as other ones.
Oh, we have a nice angle here for Wham, trying to find a little sneaky spot with the Hawk now behind. The Scouting Falcon is over that forest, catching eyes of those archers. A good indicator of when MarineLorD might want to make some sort of move could be when that second Vizier point comes in. Maybe we'll see some Imams, as he has taken some chip damage on a few of these Spahi. Could be the play for him.
Yeah, both these civs are not in a rush to age up. We have a lot of food on both sides of the field. The twin minaret building there gives you berries for absolutely ever, with also extra gather time on them. And Wham, he's the one with a mobile little squad here. They can tank a TC quite nicely, but he does have to be a little bit careful. I think you're right, Winston. I think it is going to be an Imam. Some of these units getting battered and bruised here. And Wham, we have to think about what he did playing Golden Horde earlier in the tournament. He wasn't saving stone for batch production. He was very much about getting out a lot of Torguds with that stone.
And there's a raid onto the woodline as well. The villagers have to wall. Two Torguds have made their way around. The villas take out their shivs and fend them off. Yeah, MarineLorD able to hold there, but that was tight. No spearmen were there at that location, forcing a bit of idle time, but the wall does hold off Wham's raid here. And now Wham angling for a large attack on the center. There is now an outpost on that gold. Oh, but these Torguds, have they been trapped? Is there a way for them to get out? But meanwhile, on the gold on the front, there's also an attack on the center, forcing some idle time there, but there are a lot of units here, a lot of ways to get torches. MarineLorD forced to make a choice. How will he defend this?
I mean, that tower is going to come in plenty handy here. I mean, those Torguds, I'm not sure they're going to have a way out. They're incredibly tanky units, not too much damage, but all their damage comes from a charge attack. So really trying to utilize that is Wham. And I tell you what, he's actually going to live to see another day. Potentially going to keep those on the field. Oh, but running by these
maybe not.
archers. Oh, a little bit brutal there, but all things said and done, we have MarineLorD with only 350 resources destroyed for his opponent. Not sure it does include Torgoods in that little counter, but I do feel that MarineLorD's surviving what could be a scary stage, and the army he has available is actually very good.
Wam has really walled up a lot of his base to keep things tight and concise in the center, and he's angling potentially for a Castle Age. 8 on gold, not really much to use that gold on except for the age up, so plenty of food income. This could just be a Castle Age behind this, which might put MarineLorD a bit into an aggressive position. He might try and attack this southern wall, which is currently what he's angling towards, but keep in mind, there's still that force from Wam on the field, able to maybe deal some damage back if MarineLorD's too out of position. This is quite far away.
And you've got to remember, MarineLorD is not one that is scared of sticking in for feudal for longer than other players, and he's over here. This is a pretty juicy spot. There's a lot of income going on over here. The deer are great. The Ugu's obviously fantastic. And the fact that Wam was caught in this position where it's like, well, I'd love to be able to be left alone and get an age up going. And MarineLorD, look at his eco in the top left. He's gathering a lot, but all those numbers are incredibly low. Now, there may not be a way back home, and I tell you what, I think Wam's thinking about that sandwich, getting that going.
I'm not sure if that's going to work. We're going to have to see in just a second here. Wam looking to maybe defend with some counterattacks, but it looks like he's just going to back off. Try and snipe some reinforcements like he did. Espahi going down on the back here. And now MarineLorD maybe content with the damage he's done here onto that Uvu. And just back up. Oh, but he's actually looping around the front. You can see Wam shadowing this army, knows exactly what's going on, and MarineLorD forced to make a choice. He's going to choose to move closer to the gold, deny some resources. No, that maybe Wam is angling for that Castle Age. MarineLorD continuing full production of units.
Those villagers, though, getting sniped. One getting sniped, but the others being kept alive. And this wall sort of works a little bit against Wam here, but engaging that without the Torgoods. But they're going to come in behind, getting a nice potential charge there. But MarineLorD very quick to turn things around. And now, where's the rest of MarineLorD's army? I mean, this is obviously a big squad that he has, and I do think he has the means of dealing with this. We see a lot of blue to just the left over here, and when Wam sees that, he's going to realize, you're incredibly committed to this, aren't you?
Here's the fight.
And I'm not sure Wam's going to be able to stay around for much longer here. Remember, he committed so much to these Torgoods. They are not going to be able to stay alive for much longer. The Scholar's doing a good job healing, trying to focus them down.
One down.
Does fall. Second one being focused as well. That is great play out of Wam, denying those, but the Sipahi, they are in great numbers. We have so many in production. Look at those archers. There's nothing to keep them alive, Winston.
The Sipahi are just running down the archers now. The front line for Wam has completely collapsed. He had so many tasks to do with his archers. He had to take out the imams and the Mether. It's just so much to focus down. This is why Ottomans are so scary. This feudal age timing is just so dynamic. Wam might live to see a little bit more time here as MarineLorD maybe backs off here, angling down towards the south again, but certainly a strong victory in the center. If we look at the resources, Wam was forced to commit more units into production, making Keshik instead of going up to Castle Age. His whole economy a little awkward here, but this is all forced by MarineLorD. MarineLorD now with a massive army advantage.
Massive, and he isn't slowing down here, Winston. He's had very few guys on gold here. He's even starting to get some horticulture tech, making sure he can get more wood income just to stay with this, and he's moving a few guys extra to gold now, maybe thinking, okay, damage has been done. Like, if this game does go with you getting castle and I'm so far behind, like, I am bullying you around this map right now. I know that I'm in the lead, and what does he want to do with it? We do see resources for Wam. He's got a lot of food, but not much of the other bits and bobs.
Yeah, he's got a lot of Keshiks in queue, and of course these are these double production, batch production units, so when you see just that number up there, it's going to quickly amount into a large army, but he has a lot of ways to go. The gold miners are once again under attack. Another one goes down. If MarineLorD swings north, there's a whole pocket of economy on those berries that is completely exposed. Notably, Wam did snipe the scout of MarineLorD earlier, and MarineLorD did just rebuild it, so he didn't quite see this economy up here, and Wam wisely retreating there, but has a counterattack of his own onto the main of MarineLorD. So some very awkward maneuvers here for both players to handle.
Certainly is. I mean, that tower is upgraded, but these Torguns deal pretty decent damage to towers. And I tell you what, that is a number you do have to respect in your base. But MarineLorD, maybe upon realizing that, hey, you've got quite a bit over here, what can I do with that? He's just checking the other deer pack with a good chunk of his army. He knows that food must be limited for his opponent. These Torgud are taking a lot of damage, actually. In fact, are a few of these Keshiks? I do believe so. Yes. So they pack a lot of extra punch, but my goodness, that is a big flock of Ottoman.
Yeah, MarineLorD is very suspicious of where Wam is getting economy, and the answer is he really isn't. He's run back into his base, he's gathering a lot of wood, he's back onto the gold, back onto the hunt in the south, but he's played a little ring around the rosy, those walls buying him a lot of space to try and keep this together. The military count is slowly recovering for Wam, but MarineLorD's economy is just powering through.
It's powering through, and that supply is just going up and up. I mean, this might be a bit fortunate for Wam, getting a nice little grab on this army, taking out a good 7-8 supply here. Those are the kind of things that Wam needs on his side, but he has a huge army between him and his main base. So is this a one-way journey here out on the map?
Yeah, this could be interesting. The Keshik, Torgud, and Khan now once again rallying into this base. Is there enough units to defend? Not quite. Need more spearmen to hold it.
And you know what's very awkward for MarineLorD about this whole situation? He could be thinking, I want to be attacking you right now. Like, are you taking up with this? This is a lot of Keshik, so that's obviously a lot of gold being used. But he doesn't want to be out here. And you see that blue blob on the map? It's kind of being separated a little bit here, realizing that, hey, you've got a lot over there, and he's being a little bit indecisive. So this kind of like extreme reaction out of Wam being on this side of the map is really throwing MarineLorD through a little bit of a loop here.
Yeah, but that's a big and expensive dive. A little bit of idle time on the gold, but a lot of units have taken a lot of damage here, and now Wam once again retreating. Both the Canadian brothers are quite good, but MarineLorD trying to get the surround here. There is a defensive army, so I don't think MarineLorD is gonna choose to stick around and fight this, but does get a few attacks off. Here are the archers now to handle the spearmen. A big battle now brewing in the center.
It is a big battle, and I tell you what, those spears have to stand and fight, otherwise they'll be picked off by all these Sipahi. Now, MarineLorD does not have the healing from those imams to keep this army sustained, but the sheer amount of units that he has available, and he's the one with a lot of guys on gold, and he can get pretty darn... Look at that, by the way, Winston. All of a sudden, cancelling all his units, getting the armory out. This is very problematic for the Canadian.
Yeah, and Wam was even trying to continue raiding, but it looks like MarineLorD already has a gate in that very southern wall and was able to escape a little bit down there. Yeah, he was able to escape, pushed off the hunt, though. That was a lot of villagers that were being threatened, but MarineLorD just so calm and collected. Look at that. No villager kills, even though Wam has been trying a lot to raid. The Metter gonna spot out and has no attack. It's just a support unit. He's banging his drum fiercely. But behind it, was it all a bait? The archers are here. The gate is not gonna be open for long. So many villagers go down.
Oh, that is so brutal. I believe a good like 8 or 9 villagers there being popped. And remember, look at all these numbers. They're all in an advantage of MarineLorD, and that tech is going to be done very soon as well. Upon seeing that, Wam's not going to be feeling too comfortable. He has to fight this in feudal, and he's got less numbers than his opponent. The Sipahi getting a good wrap around. Even the villagers in the back being focused by that army as well. MarineLorD just got way too much for his opponent.
GG is called. Wam not able to take him down in game one.
Not able to take it down in game one. I mean, we talked a little bit, the fact that Ottoman was allowed to go through. I'm very curious as to what the other Civ choice was to get sniped, but maybe thinking, you know what, this is a best of 5. You no longer have Ottoman available. This means if you've got a Phrygian March setup where you want to pick Ottoman Zhu Shi as MarineLorD, no longer do you have the Ottoman available, so you have to mix something else in. To maybe start guaranteeing yourself a more favorable matchup, because AoE4, and I'm sure AoE2 is exactly the same, when it comes to a best of 5, best of 7 series, you have to think about the long run in these kind of situations. So getting the first pick and one of the strongest civs out there, out the way, I tell you what, you can look at that and be like, oh no, I'm 1-0 down, but it's not all doom and gloom for Wam.
Yeah, and we can see here on this post game, just the military value, really what sealed the deal. That one fight in the center really did not go Wam's way, and then he did a really good job, I think, of splitting up his cav and trying to distract by time, build his force up, but it seemed that I mean, MarineLorD was just playing so sharp. MarineLorD was able to handle everything. None of his counterattacks ever killed a single villager.
It was actually really clean. Like, it was good defense. I also like what we've been seeing from primarily these two players. Even though you have a primary comp you want to go for, be it like Sipahi, Archer, and Feudal, we've been seeing these spears constantly eked out. The opening was very aggressive by MarineLorD, having a barracks and a military school. Definitely, I think he caught Wam a tiny bit off guard, already making it a bit of a weird situation. Very often, when you've had a lot of time to prep, it's good to set something up that your opponent has to react to on the fly. But yeah, Wam just couldn't really get a foothold in this game. I think he played well. I really do. It's just MarineLorD's playstyle here, having the Ottoman, just making sure that he has the muscle behind it all and getting the castle behind it as well. It was really clean Ottoman play.
Yeah, and in this fight here too, pulling back the Sipahi, the Archer's just absolutely dominant. The Meta even coming in, leading the charge, banging the drums and saying, here they are. And this was essentially the end of the game when this attack occurred. No more food for Wam, and now we move on to our next game.
We certainly do. Yet to know the map. We do have Wam's map picks being Socotra and Front Range. He is still allowed to choose one of MarineLorD's if he does so please. And the order in which you do maps can be kind of cool. Because if you force your opponent to pick a map where it's like, oh, I had Iobid planned for this map, and then you select it, and then they can't use Iobid in their initial kind of perspective. So we might see some very funky matchups between these guys, because I dare say most of the time you want to save Tuklak for something like Frisian, but would you be allowed to play it? I mean, MarineLorD is a silly Billy, but you won't allow his opponent to pick Tuklak over there, I don't think.
Yeah, I think it's really challenging too. I'm really curious about this HRE pick. I feel like that's got to be the secret sauce here. I think that's got to have to be something that he pulls out to win a map decisively.
Yeah, we've had civs, new civs like Macedonia come in, and what has been one of the big power plays for them, it's been these Age 2 Varangian guard pushers. Once the hero Radari comes out, boosting everything, you get the +2 armor going. Can HRE fight against that? I mean, they have men at arms, but that high melee armor really does a job on those. I'm with you. I don't know where he's going to be choosing HRE, whether it's going to be Frisian or land map. We just haven't seen it work out for quite some time. And on paper, it doesn't make sense, because they start off with a prelate and 6 villies. They should have a super economy compared to everybody else, but something doesn't quite line up.
Front Range going to be the map of choice. This is certainly a map of maps. We've seen some really dynamic moments. There are these small outposts on the northern left side here where you can capture to get vision and very quickly run out of gold in your main. And at some point you have to stretch economy north, either for food, gold, or both. And that makes mobility-based civs very, very important.
So, civ-wise, we've seen Macedonia on this map. We've seen Japan on this map as well. We've seen HRE by Wam himself. Now, if he wants to start thinking about when would he be able to start picking Sengoku, I mean, is it good on Front Range? I mean, it's good on any map, let's be real.
It's good on any map, yeah.
But he has to have a situation where he's not left with like all his good civs and he puts them with, let's say, a Tuklak or a HRE, because then the good civ gets sniped, and then you don't really get to play your best civs. But French is awkward. Like, you'd love to have a situation where you get Mali versus French, but can it come into fruition here? You don't want HRE against French. I dare say the draft might look something like Macedonia, maybe Iobid against HRE Japan. But again, this is all theory crafting here, because Iobid is very versatile. That is good on quite a few of the maps that do remain, maybe just not Socotra.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be tricky. There's also the French and JD picks, which, I mean, keeping them maybe for Arabia and Frisian. We see French a lot on Frisian. It's a solid civ there.
Zushi is very solid on Socotra as well, and Frisian, and can be played on Dry Arabia, even Front Range to some degree. There are times that you get a couple of berry packs together, having an Imperial official out on that boar. One thing you might want to steer clear of is, you know, not having a boar civ. That looks like a bit of a Malian to me, you know.
And this is Front Range.
It is indeed.
Indeed.
Tell you what, Malian can get very awkward on this map, given that they do rely on gold a lot. and those future pit mines you do start making can't entirely be surrounded. Is that, it is Jean. Jean against Malian. That's a brave pick. That is a brave pick.
And we'll see how MarineLorD wants to play it. He's clearly got a plan in mind. Now these pit mines going to be an essential part of Wam's strategy. This one being in the back means very little to be done about it. It's difficult a bit for JD to aggress hyper early. There's sort of this feudal timing that generally works out in her favor. However, on the side of Wam, do you think we see some Sofa here?
Actually, this map, or rather this matchup.
You want to do Donso Jav?
Donzo Jav.
It's solid. I think it's also good on this map as well, given how the map has spawned for Wam. He's got both gold mines kind of tucked away in the back, and I think that's where the static elements of the Donso Jav composition is just so good, and yeah.
Well, it's also, if we think about this map and how it's laid out, it's a little bit like a coastal cliffs in the sense that you've got just the like home run straight to your opponent's base, and you can technically, if it's not going to go on for a long time, kind of ignore the mountain range until you hit like the H3s and stuff. Donzo Jav doesn't exactly cost a ton of gold to get going. You're going to be using quite a bit of your gold. He's actually gone for a full surround on this pit mine here. Even the mini pit mine can have 8 houses around it, so that's going to be a lot of income. Bringing in these deer as well, just to make sure that he is absolutely cooking in the resource department.
Yeah, maximum greed, mostly because you know you can against JD, right? There's no immediate threat, generally speaking. There have been some funny builds with JD, but generally, people just do the standard.
Yeah, and some of the weaknesses for Malian is kind of like early game pressure. I know we've had these builds where it's like you build a tower and it's kind of cool and you know, you make sure you're not in trouble early on. But Jeanne d'Arc literally has no way of playing aggressive while kind of maintaining your eco early on. They really have to wait until feudal. So that allowing Malian to be super comfortable, you literally spawn with 2 pit mines as well, because you have the choice of 2 golds. This is going to be very tricky for MarineLorD. I mean, this was his 6th and final pick. I'm wondering what was vetoed and what Wam was... Maybe he picked both the Frenchers and he was like, you know what, getting rid of Jeanne d'Arc is kind of cool. But very, very curious about that one.
Yeah, I think MarineLorD, though, also going to feel very comfortable here. The Knight Archer play, I almost want to say it's one of his signatures. I think when we look back at the S-tier tournaments of the past, it almost feels like he wins games like this so consistently. He's so good with Knight micro, so good with Archer positioning, split micro, making sure everything works well for him. And this is another Civ, I think, where he's just super comfortable.
He is. He's very good with the Knight Civs. He loves his aggression when he gets to do it. Very often, he's not really allowed, because when you are the GOAT, a lot of people try and throw you off your game, and they realize, whoa, you're really good at defending, aren't you? But yeah, Jeanne d'Arc, definitely, if this game goes on with neither player doing anything, Malian's just ahead. They have a far superior economy. So on MarineLorD's side of things, he's going to have to work and try to get things done early on. I'm just wondering what they're going to be.
Yeah, I'd say one of the hallmarks of MarineLorD's success has been greed. And it's generally when there's these tiny moments where there's opportunity for adding a few farms. A lot of players will be like principled about it and say, no, there's still food on the map, I should wait and get the most out of it. MarineLorD knows, like, I'm okay with a longer game. I think I can squeeze 4 farms here. He won't get super crazy, but just 4 farms here. Then a couple minutes later, 4 more farms. And other players often are sticking on that main food, moving large groups of villagers out, and then that greed ends up paying off later on in the game. Once those natural food sources run out, that tends to be when MarineLorD, he's just somehow up, you know, a huge amount of resources or up a large army, and we'll see what the play is. It looks like we are going to see the barracks opening for Wam with the archer range as well. So this is the Donso Javelin composition to defend. It kind of deals well with the spearmen, and it can kind of fend off, the knights with the spearmen, and then fend off whatever form of JD is picked, although it is the woman at arms.
It is the woman at arms, so this means that spearmen will have a bit of a rougher time against those knights. And you don't really want to go for the range one, just because the jabs can really decimate her, even when it comes to like level 3 Jeanne, level 4 Jeanne, it gets awkward. A little bit of boar trickery going on here. Now, this is MarineLorD's boar, meaning that this is one that he will eventually want to be gathering from. Boars do give you quite a lot more food, and he's out onto it immediately. Wam, by the way, was very, very cautious about getting his second pit mine. He made sure he got his barracks first, his archery range first. This scout was not in position to block it, but MarineLorD does get to see that it is going up at this location, and we'll be like, all right, so that probably means your wood went elsewhere. So can I be as aggressive as I want to be? And he went for a second stable, Winston. We can't forget that.
The scout is actually very low for Wam here and could get attacked, and it is indeed taken out there on that north side. The night charge coming through next to the stone mine, and now Wam is playing blind with spearmen against knights. That's never where you want to be. You want to be able to see where these knights are coming, and I'm curious where Wam is going to build his mining camp.
I love this by MarineLorD, sending Jean in first, despite being the slower unit, just meaning
The villager-
javelins, the spears, actually hit Jean and not the knight. And you see here, that's, that villager being kept alive by the skin of its teeth over there. And this Jean, she is going to town, tanking all those bad lads. And these knights, one does get braced over there, but the other spearman getting caught out pretty darn massively.
Yeah, another cleave coming out from John. The Knights are on their last legs trying to run away. There is access to the AoE heal, but later we'll see if that is an option for MarineLorD to heal up those hurt Knights. Meanwhile, he's just sending John on a war march here against these Danzo.
She has one mission, keep those knights alive. Make sure your opponent can't get a free one, because those knights will later be allowed to heal. And we do know that on MarineLorD's side of things, he went very heavy into the knights. It was a second stable before an archer range, before a barracks, most likely going to be archers, and it was going to be an archer range for him. Moved out onto the boar. One nice thing for Fringe and Jean, being aggressive, it does allow you to take things on the map. And that is your first form of defense. And here, trying to get the charges off. Nice cleave by Jean as well.
Oh, but several knights going down here. This is going to be an interesting exchange of experience, though, for JD. She's going to get a lot of experience for these spearmen going down. The knights will go down, but maybe a cost that MarineLorD's willing to pay, as especially this could lead to map control for him. The archer mass building behind this. Wam has opted to not go for the javelins, and now entering the sofa phase of the feudal age for the Malians.
Did he finish his archery range in his main base? That's the question that I'm asking myself, because the fact he didn't make any jabs, they can definitely help. So if our observers can go to that main base of Wam and see if it is still an archery range over in the top left. A little bit higher, a little bit higher.
Cancelled
so
it.
Cancelled it entirely. Now we have an archery range in production, but not having a few of those javelins just to be there for a little bit of tickle damage constantly on Jean, making sure that she can't start regenerating when she's out of combat, would have been very helpful. And Jean, she's already 40% of the way to level 3.
Yeah, and that level 3 is really, really scary. Something that MarineLorD wanted to do this game is get these early scuffles in. He wanted to fight. He wanted to take exchanges where units die, and that is something he just gave. And another boar being pulled. This will be more experience for Jean, but notably kind of pulls it even closer away from Wam, closer to MarineLorD. Not sure if this will come into play just yet. Could be if the middle of the map is secured. I do love how Wam did run around that north side of the map, and he does have vision. That's a setup for the later stages of the game, not relevant just yet, but this first sofa, finding the gold miners of MarineLorD. It has snuck around, a bit of a surprise. It could go down. This could be the first villager going down. Wam finding some damage.
That's already a big deal. I mean, this gold obviously fairly close to being depleted here, but any little advantage you can get eco-wise as Malian, especially when it's been a little bit rough on the trades here, because MarineLorD's definitely traded well. And another resource to think about is obviously the level of Jean. But this sofa over here, when MarineLorD wants to go so heavily into knights, just seeing, hey, I am doing a little bit of eco damage. May not look big, but it is quite a bit of denial here going on.
Yeah, we've seen both Wam and Puppy Pod do this a lot, and it's just make one cavalry unit, be it a scout and a horseman, a scout and a knight, a scout and a sofa, and he just runs around, and I almost feel like it's a way of keeping you honest. He doesn't want you walling with one villager slowly. That villager will die. He doesn't want random buildings going down on the side of the map. He doesn't want sneak vills. He doesn't want aggressive walls. He wants to know what's going on, and here we have a big exchange in the middle, but that's a lot of Danzo to charge the knights into. John, though, wants that experience. She's going to charge in first. Get a big cleave, but baited out by Wam.
Now, for MarineLorD, he doesn't want to stick around for that next Donzo shot unless it's a fight happening. So Wam is trying to keep him in combat just enough so we can get that next cooldown shot. It's roughly like 15 seconds or so. So there's a battle here going on between the timers of these Donzos. So again, does Wam want a battle where Jean's going to get a lot of XP? No. But he wants to utilize that cooldown of these Donzos throwing that spear just to make the absolute most out of them.
Behind this, though, Wam has been macroing quite well. He's got up to 12 cattle in ranches. This is sort of the end game state, is if you get up to those 20 cattle and hit the castle age with the corral. We'll see if that comes into play here. Now some big walls going off, needs to stave off the raids and make sure no damage is taken. So a lot of ills being put on those walls, but a fight now once again in the middle. JD wants some XP. The Knights will charge in, at least baiting out the spears, backs up, baits it again.
And for those that don't know, when you brace a spear, it takes a few seconds for that to come back online. And look at Jean coming in here. She is just a tanky gal. The javelins do a good job against those archers, splitting up the focus fire as well. The archer count's too low to really deal with this number of Donzos, but MarineLorD doesn't look like he's too worried about that. Just constantly climbing in the knight count. And I don't believe Wam's even mined any gold to get all this going. And that probably shows why the javelin counts remained fairly low here. There's no blacksmith upgrade out for MarineLorD. Wam is starting with his +1 armor.
There are two Soph, I believe, on the north side of the map here. Maybe going to spot out where these gold miners are. The scout is indeed going to see it. There's only one knight in defense, but it should be enough with the quick walls here. And that was an important fight we just saw for Wam. He was able to get that whole wall on that southern side of the map, protecting a lot of his eco. There's berries, there's deer, an extremely important element of that. And if he hadn't taken that fight in the center, which did notably give JD a bit of experience, he is at, 4/5 of the way there to that next level, which could be devastating at this stage of the game to achieve. Things could get crazy fast if another fight breaks out in the middle.
It really could, because Jean, all she needs is one big fight. But I tell you what, that is so much Malian now. The way that MarineLorD's been playing this, he's been hoping this Malian count wouldn't get as high. Because MarineLorD, he is hoping for one fight where Jean hits level 3, he overwhelms massively, he can start getting those champions out of Jean d'Arc as well that are incredibly good against the Donzos. But the way that Wam's played economically, so much emphasis on the food. He hasn't just relied on the cows. It's been, I am getting the deer, the berries, absolutely everything on my side of things, which has allowed him to go very, very heavily. And it doesn't look like MarineLorD's going to have that window where he can get caught out.
And we see Wam now potentially eyeing up a castle age. He has now put those villagers on gold, which he was able to get away with not doing before. Now he's committed to a big amount of gold. He has 1,000 food in the bank. The cattle boom up to 16, not fully complete, but close enough. And this could be an interesting position where Wam wants to age up, but MarineLorD still wants that fight in the center. And this could get interesting. The javelins have segregated the archers out onto the north, but the knights have charged around the forest. The Donzos in reserve here. Could be a big moment. That is a lot of knights.
And while this is going on, Sofa denying the gold of MarineLorD. And I mean, this is the one fight that MarineLorD needs right here. He baits the brace. Now we can try and get a charge in. So Wam trying to buy time, and yet again. Oh, Jean, she's getting low. She's getting focused by those javelin throwers. They don't yet have +1. Jean is down. No more XP for Jean. MarineLorD has to get out of there because he will get no XP. Jean back on the field though. But this is a big deal because his gold is getting denied by Wam behind enemy lines.
So many knights also went down in that fight. The Donzo mass is just so huge. That early cancel of the archery range into a second barracks. Wam just knew he needed the spearmen here against this composition, and now MarineLorD may be in a bit of a pickle. The Grand Fulani Corral, a huge boost to food income, going to be right behind this.
MarineLorD is in more than a pickle here. Like, he really relied on that fight going super damn well because this game starts off bad, but when that H3 comes online for his opponent, it gets a whole lot worse. The upgrades will come in very quickly for Wam. Right now is the moment that MarineLorD should be in his opponent's base, dealing all this echo damage, trying to really mitigate that army, but Wam played very good with making sure that his weak spot in regular Malian play just wasn't there.
Yeah, and we saw early game, MarineLorD took these outposts along the north of the map in order to have access to raiding if villagers did make it out there. But look what Wam was able to do in all the chaos. He was able to sneak a vill up to that north side, and he has built a wall there. And now that he's up, MarineLorD basically can't attack and has to look to age up on his own, right?
Yeah, and this sofa, look, this whole spot is undefended over here. Immediately gets Don's upgrade, gets the Jav upgrade. I believe that is the Jav upgrade. In fact, it might be sofa, but still, MarineLorD looking to be aggressive here. His army in mere moments is going to be significantly worse than his opponent. But Jean, she's level 3. That is a big deal. He's going to get 3 champions out in the field. They are very good against most of the army that he's up against, but here we go. The Donzo's getting nice Jav throws here. The Jav's also upgraded. This is going to be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, MarineLorD just looking for the dive. He's just marching in, but there are so many units for Wam here.
Oh, I love this by Wam. He baited
Jean in the middle.
Jean, she's going to get picked off immediately. That is such a huge power spike gone for MarineLorD. And now, how does he get out of there with all those archers? There are so many Donzos, so many Javs on the field. His army is no longer the big lad on the playground. And even these champions at the back there, they're too slow to get away.
Yeah, it looks like he just wanted to take another engagement, fight with Jean, fight with the Knights, but it's just not enough. The sheer quantity of Donzo on the field is immense. Wam is impending, and this is the doom for MarineLorD. Wam potentially looking to take a game here, and things could get crazy.
They already are crazy. I mean, I don't know how MarineLorD gets himself out of this one. Jean is back on the field, though, back from the dead. The Knight count has been well and truly thinned. That Javelin count has just continued to grow. And now it is MarineLorD kind of chasing him down a little bit. Oh, Jean on the front line, already down to close to half health. The Javelin's focusing down the archers one by one as well. And again, charge is done, but I feel that was a big cleave on Jean, though. And his supply isn't dropping. But neither is Wam's. And look at that, he's got to go home with his tail between his legs once again.
Yeah, the Knight's gonna rally in one last time. Jean doing a cleave, but she will go down to the Javelins here. And again, Wam has taken out JD, and MarineLorD on the retreat once again has just enough resources to try and age soon, but it's gonna be so far away, and GG is called.
Wow. And I tell you what, in Wololo Grand Final history in AoE4, this is the first time that MarineLorD has dropped a map.
And Wam is looking so cold.
He's fierce.
Wow.
I mean, on paper, this is a good matchup for Malian, but as was the first map for MarineLorD with the Ottomans. So the first pick civs from both these guys are now off the board, 1-1 apiece. And a little bit of a sigh of relief there. The plan just wasn't able to get going. I was kind of wondering from MarineLorD, like, feeling that there's so many units out and how much emphasis there was on Wam getting the berries, the deer, you name it, just being so focused on having enough, making that one hole, that one weakness of Malian, just kind of too hard to get into. He narrowed the gap so damn hard, and I was wondering how MarineLorD was going to get himself out, because he has to turn a corner at some point, realizing this is not going to happen in this scenario.
Yeah, the economy of Malians here just really skyrocketed as the feudal age progressed, and things just got really ugly really fast for MarineLorD. Wam putting on immense pressure. Even though it looked like MarineLorD was the one attacking, it was because of Wam's setup. It was because of how he was playing. MarineLorD had to force these fights, and at times, you know, we sort of questioned these small skirmishes and exchanges granted JD a lot of experience. She hit a decent timing on the level 3, but both times in those fights, she went down so fast, just immediately evaporated to all of these spears being thrown around. The archer micro, really great from Wam here to snipe these down, keeping the Donzo in good position, spreading and falling back away from the cleave attacks from Jean. Just impeccable play from Wam, and this is exactly what we were talking about when we mentioned how his path has been in the past maybe just a few months. He really looked like he was a top 4, potentially now the top 1 player, and it's because of plays like this time and time again. He has just continued to improve, and now he's taking a game off of MarineLorD, like you said, unheard of.
In the grand finals, at least, of Wololo.
Yes,
it
exactly.
It really is. I mean, MarineLorD can't be too flustered either. Jean d'Arc against Malian is very much a stiff matchup to go up against.
And it sounds like we do have Zoe with Vortex, another contender here who was in the semifinals, and he might have his opinion on the game so far.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Please, everyone, put your hands together for Vortex. We've been watching the games up here. And as we went through the draft, you said that the bans actually stood out to you. Can you elaborate on that and explain?
Yeah, so basically in Age of Empires 4, we are kind of used to not global bans, but for this tournament, we do have global bans, which means you are not really banning only what you don't feel comfortable against, but also you are banning ships that you know your opponent will also be really good on. So we have, for example, Wam, he loves Byzantines, but he banned the Byzantines because he knew if MarineLorD took it, it can be also a really big problem for him. We also see most of the strong ships getting through. Like in normal tournaments, we wouldn't be seeing Malians like we just did. We wouldn't be seeing ships like Chinese or even the one in the first game, Ottomans. So it's kind of, the draft, there's a lot of strategy going on. And I think that actually showed a lot on the draft already, how they have prepared for their opponents really well.
I mean, Wam tied up the series. It's 1-1 now. Last time at Red Bull Wololo El Renado, it was a one-sided affair in the grand final. We know and we talked about how Wam is on the up, that he's at the peak of his game. Do you feel it's enough to take down MarineLorD in his current form?
I think so. To be fair, the first game, I think, was the matchup was really in favor of MarineLorD. He tried his best, but there's only so much you can do when the matchup is kind of unbalanced. The second game, though, he played super sharp, very few mistakes. And I think the ships that are left for him are really good as well. He can find some decent matchups. So I think he could be doing it, honestly. He's been looking super strong lately. He obviously beat me yesterday as well, pretty comfortably. So honestly, I think Wam does have a high chance.
All right, well, let's see how this one plays out. Vortex, thank you so much for sharing your insight. I'm going to head on back over to our casters.
Lovely insight there from Vortex, being able to talk very honestly and candidly about the situation. And yeah, the draft really does come into play a lot for these guys. The draft was actually changed just a couple of weeks ago that the players had to incorporate. It changed to the global ban situation, so they haven't had too much time to think about it. But I like everything that Vortex said there, because the civs that are available still having Japan, Sengoku in the mix. I mean, Hatri and Tuklak are obviously a little bit more wild cardy, but yeah, having the first choice civs off the table now. Zhu Shi, that opens it up a little bit, given that Zhu Shi didn't want to play against Malian. French also didn't want to play against Malian. So it's definitely opened up the doors for MarineLorD as well, but it's not as if Wam doesn't have choices to make. And remember, either one of these players going up in the next game means the other one, their life is absolutely on the line in this historical moment.
Yeah, these best of fives are just so cutthroat, aren't they, Demu? It is so tricky to handle that mindset of the score of 2. As soon as there's 2 points on the board, it's match point for someone, right? And I think that's just incredibly challenging to handle. And we're about to enter that stage. We're almost halfway through the series. Things are getting interesting. And I think I caught a glimpse on one of those camera panning around that it is Socotra next. And you've been talking about Zhu Shi. So maybe MarineLorD going to his 6th and then 5th picks potentially, or some other civs. What are your thoughts there?
This is going to be a fun, if it is Socotra, like Zhu Shi is very much a pick. Macedonia with a very abusive style, getting the or rather the strongholds around, just turning them into arrow towers and whatnot. And honestly, Wam potentially has a few choices available. Even though it is a small map, Japan and Sengoku are pretty darn okay when it comes to feudal. Obviously, the fast castle timing's really good, but Yumi's being cheaper, a lot cheaper as well. But we are loading into the game right now to see what civs these lads have picked here. And that looks a bit like French to me, that does, Winston.
Yes, indeed. French on Socotra is certainly a choice against the Tuklak. Oh, baby.
Okay, this is already cool. This is already really cool now.
This is neat.
If the ball game was to be a thing, French is obviously the civ that wants to do it. But if we look at MarineLorD's side of things, it doesn't look like he's gone for that immediately. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't, because he's French, right? They love to get the meat on the field, the deer, the boar, you name it. Done a good little job of scouting around here, just getting as many sheep as he can, but not putting all his eggs in one basket. Now, he does know that his opponent can't go for it. Wow, look at that sheep counter, by the way, for Wam. So
whoa,
he has been monstrous about getting a lot of food. And I tell you what, Tuklak love to have a lot of food with big chunky boy elephants later on, so yeah, he definitely won a little bit of the scouting game there.
Yeah, getting very good scouting is essential, and we do see the scouts just finding each other. Nothing crazy happening here. These vills are pretty far on this further berry.
Ooh.
An interesting decision there early on, and Wam going for the Dome of Faith.
This makes me think that Wam is going for something a tiny bit more old school with Tuklak.
Yes.
Now that is funny to say, given that it's only been out for a few months, but when Tuklak first came out, healer elephants were such a big deal. We've seen a lot of people going for these fort plays early on, where they get the food governor, they put it on a gold, they feel very safe, but your gold's all the way at the back. If you do manage to get elephants and some spears out, all of a sudden French can feel a bit like, hold on a minute, what's happening here? Am I getting bullied? Because they want the food out on the map, and how do you get it when your opponent's playing very aggressive? So already a very different style of Tuklak so far, what we've seen in this tournament.
Yeah, and these healer elephants, right? They have such a snowball effect. And one bad fight against them, and then suddenly they're in your base. They keep fighting, they keep healing everything, and with the right composition here, MarineLorD might not find that much success. We are gonna have a quick fort, it looks like, as the follow-up behind the healers. Maybe the healers are sort of a later feudal option.
I'm starting to wonder, this is a very small map here, Winston.
Oh, Fort Rush.
It could be one of these things where you get the Amir warriors running out, but I don't want to get too cooked up on a possibility here. But MarineLorD's actually getting this school of cavalry incredibly quick. 5 villagers building up. He did go for wheelbarrow early on, but that is going to be very quick knights coming out for him. Now, the amount of guys that he has in gold still not too high, but he's going to make sure that he's got enough for a good couple of nights when those bad boys do pop out.
This is going to be all about timings, right? Like, these villagers are exposed. There are some spearmen, but MarineLorD's going to have knights on the field 2 nights within a minute, right? It's going to get scary, and it's going to get scary fast to be on the map, and you need a lot of stone for these forts, so I'm curious how Wam is going to handle this. Both stones are forward, so if the plan is to mine this, he better have enough to use it, and let's see how this timing works out. Spearmen in production, but already a knight going to be on the field very shortly. This is what MarineLorD probably wants to be doing, is running this right across. He sees these villagers on the map, and he says, well, it takes a minute to build a fort too. It's not going to be instant.
Yeah, we saw this out of Vortex where it was like, you know what? I will get a fort eventually, but I make sure I'm going to have some battle units as well.
Yeah.
Wam does have more than enough gold here just to make sure you can get the Spearman upgrade, and you get it immediately as well with Tuklak. One of their things, all their techs take 5 seconds to complete. But a knight in the hands of the best knight user we've known in AoE4 is not going to be easy to contend with.
Yeah, last game we did see Wam lost his scout.
He actually got
pretty early on.
textiles super fast as the Tuklak.
Oh, that's so smart.
Super smart. So here, MarineLorD might be thinking, as soon as I get a charge, I can then one-shot a villager. No longer going to be the play. And Tuklak is one of the only civs that can get it as quick as we mentioned.
And there's the fort timing with the textiles play early. This does give the villagers a bunch of HP, 2 spearmen in defense. It's hard to, a third one even, it's hard to even see if MarineLorD can deny this. This will protect the berries and some deer.
Oh, so annoying. The elephant there took the charge there from the knight, so you're going to have to wait for that to come back on cooldown. And now this spearman count is getting too scary to deal with. And this spot here secures the stone, secures the berries behind, secures a little bit of a baby deer pack as well. That is going to be a lot of food available. And already, Wam is dealing with a tricky situation very nicely.
Yeah, that was, we talked about the timing here. It can be really, really tense on these short maps, but this seems very practiced from Wam. He knew exactly what kind of timing he was going for, and now we see MarineLorD moving out to the boar, but there are spearmen on the field. Wam is going to be wise to this play and has the spearmen in position. There is an archer, but maybe a villager could go down here. The knights are now here on the path to running straight into the spearmen.
I mean, both players have to be so careful here in this early game situation. Wam has set himself up for a nice spot here, and look, not forgetting the food governor. That's a big deal, going to be having that food gathered immediately. So far, Wam not missing a beat. Does need stone still. These villagers can obviously stay alive for a bit longer because they do have that textiles available, and just keeping them just alive here, but still not quite enough stone. And MarineLorD's postured himself here in a spot that kind of denies both these stone deposits.
Yeah, but the villagers probably could take some damage here. They have textiles. The fort is there to protect them when they move around to the berries, and a healer elephant is in production. So pretty soon that healer elephant could just march on over to the villagers and heal them up all in a jiffy just like that, and then make these spearmen also feel a lot harder to kill with just a few archers. MarineLorD will need enough to one-shot, and a dock.
I really love that play out of Wam here. Getting a dock on this map. This is one of those maps where you are on a little island, and the golds do tend to be very exposed for your opponent. So being able to just make that a little bit awkward, and if you don't react in time, you can be under a lot of fire with those villagers. So Wam has to balance his eco pretty damn well here. He still needs stone, but he's getting the first upgrade on the fort. He needs wood because he needs the houses, and he needs units. But he is definitely setting himself up in a spot here that he can get H3 without taking too much damage. Also, that dock can play the purpose that he can get a galley behind his gold, just to make sure he doesn't take damage over there.
I'm actually looking at the minimap demo, and it's going to be very hard for MarineLorD to get gold. He just built a wall, kind of walling off the maybe only inland gold on the map, which is right there. He'll have to add a gate there, and that'll be really close to the fort of Wam, which will be sort of this defensive posturing position where you can push out, fall back, push out, fall back. And as these players poke each other, more and more damage coming through. We do have the healing of Chivalry on the side of MarineLorD. Not yet, but it will be an option. On the side of Wam, though, the healing is much more monstrous.
I'm all of a sudden starting to get scared for MarineLorD. I didn't think I'd ever say that during this finals, but this is getting to a situation here. 2 healer elephants is the magic number, meaning that they can heal the units around them, but also heal the healer elephant if it gets low. He's got to walk this fine line of constantly scouting his opponent, just making sure that he knows what army he's up against and how much of it there is.
And so the next major play here is going to be this arrow ship looping around the south of the map. It will find the gold. And yeah, this little guy, he's going to be such a nuisance. MarineLorD moving his army out, just trying to spot what's going on, has a scout in the mix.
And I mean, there is a fort there, so trying to deny any of this food is going to be hard. It really is. This fort, not yet fully operational, but it's not as if Wam is struggling for food. He's really gunning out for a lot of wood here, just making sure he can get anything going that he wants. MarineLorD with his own dock here. And I tell you what.
Let's see the reaction.
Let's see the reaction. Oh, there's a big shot.
No reaction just yet. He does run, but one villager could go down. Oh, everybody lives to tell the tale.
That was so damn close. I mean, the galley, obviously, with the AoE shots here, still some villagers trying to get onto gold, but it definitely slows things down. But galley is produced by MarineLorD. Pretty good timing as well. Can go back to gathering. Now, if you are near a dock, you do regenerate with your boat. So this is not a fight that Wam can stick around for.
Yeah, and it sort of raises the question, do I really want to keep investing in the water, right? Like, there's no fish here. It's sort of a nice, cute play to make this attack, but it doesn't necessarily win the game unless you're able to deny water fully. But the ships are quite expensive, and now it's up to MarineLorD maybe looking to age up.
And we do have Wam switching to a lot of dudes on the stone, realizing that, hey, I do actually have a lot of wood available. I've been making a lot of archers, keeping the units alive, and this fort is doing a great job securing this location. I do like how he's been walling off the map a little chunk, just making it awkward for his opponent, just if he does want to cross the map. But Wam, no longer mining the gold, actually. I'm so curious what his plan is here, because he's going to start getting upgrades quickly as well. The blacksmith, we do know that the upgrades come in ridiculously quickly, and still he's had so many guys on wood this whole time.
Yeah, a 3rd healer elephant even. That almost indicates that he might want to go for an all-in as soon as MarineLorD ages.
And I tell you what, it's
soon.
It's a pretty cool timing. I mean, granted, French don't mind being in feudal for a while, but we do see that MarineLorD isn't truly thinking about sticking around for it for a while either. And this is a very weird game state here. The Spring-Old ship has been made by Wam. Getting some nice micro in here. Might be able to get this galley.
He's gonna get it.
That's a big deal. So MarineLorD has to have a Spring-Old ship, at least one available, just to deal with that Spring-Old ship. And he's going to go head back home, realizing that, hey, my aggression over there, it's not going to be possible.
We see the scout of Wam spotting out all of the units here. This is critical info. Scout does go down, but he now knows the numbers here and says that's not maybe as much as he was expecting, because now we're going to have that Castle Age from MarineLorD in just a second. Potentially the Guildhall, I guess. So yeah, Guildhall is the choice. I think both may have been options.
I will quote the great Vortex here. Even if Royal Institute feels like a good option, it's not.
Go Guildhall.
Go Guildhall every time. Wam really committing to a lot of stone here, by the way. I think he is going to go for a second fort. I don't see why you wouldn't in this situation. He's not close to age 3, and he does have to start thinking about what he's going to do to defend, because it's going to be very highly upgraded units, and he's even getting a demo on his side of things, so maybe thinking about taking this out, making sure the gold situation is going to be awkward for his opponent. But we are in a state of the game that I've never seen before.
Yeah, it's really interesting on this small map. The tankiness and turtle nature of the Tugluck here is really interesting. The Night Charge comes in, several villagers go down. The healer elephants, not enough. 4 Vil kills out of thin air for MarineLorD. A great pickup as he hits the Castle Age.
He hits the castle, and look at this. Wam was making an immediate tower, and he's like, you know what? I need a fort over here. I need the resources on my side of the map. I need to make sure I am not going to die. Now, there's also water skirmishes happening while the stuff on the map is happening. Trying to wall off with his units. Tugluck do have the same abilities as Delhi. Quickly moving away, making sure he doesn't take too much damage from the archers. They're both handling this situation very nicely.
And 12 archers is enough here, I believe, to handle Spearmen one at a time, but not until it might not be enough buffer, right, for MarineLorD. So this fight could snowball in either direction, depending on the position. Wam trying to force the issue and build this fortress, but MarineLorD just diving once again onto the villagers.
Oh, Wam, he can finish that fort. He can finish that fort. I really feel that was a bit of an error there. Could have finished that fort, maybe hopping the villagers into there. Now he's lost 14 eco all of a sudden, and MarineLorD can't be too upset with how many villagers he killed there. He's got and I believe the demo did win the fight over there in the south as well, meaning he can't gather gold on his side of things.
Right, this is getting interesting because Wam has a really solid army and potentially a position to threaten all of these knights. They could go down. They're going to try and squeeze through. The veteran upgrade is in. The archers just barely tickling them. They're going to go for the quick wall.
Oh,
the units are trapped.
Trapped him in. He's going to get so many knights out of this. Look at that. Maybe 2 knights can squeeze out there, but I tell you what, MarineLorD could not afford that to happen.
What a play by Wam, using these bonuses so effectively, and right behind that, the resources for Castle Age. He has the map control, he has the army, he still has the healers, so this is gonna snowball fast. The House of Learning behind this for a few techs to boost up his army, and this could get interesting.
And we gotta remember, like the relics have not been grabbed. There are 2 on MarineLorD's side of the map and 2 on the other, and Wam just utilizing the wall offs there so damn well. Knight count no longer scary. Wam can immediately say, you know what, I don't need units right now, we're gonna tech up. But MarineLorD would not be MarineLorD if he didn't think about what happens now. We've seen it throughout this whole tournament where he's like, very comfortable about making it a longer game if he does so please, and that looks like is what he's gearing up for, getting quite a few archery ranges, I believe, around that keep that he has freshly made, meaning that he's not going to die anytime soon. Was he even thinking about, I think he was thinking about a siege workshop there as well, you know?
Yeah, potentially MarineLorD not going to get punished right away, but Wam now waiting for these upgrades to come in, just needs a little bit more gold. They are pretty expensive, but Vet Archer, Vet Spearman would be critical upgrades for him. MarineLorD able to grab 1 relic at least, even though in theory here, Wam has the map control. Things here are so spicy. This monastery on the front could be a target later for Wam if he's able to maintain the numbers, but MarineLorD, keep in mind, he is now up 60 Vils to 38, and there are a couple of passive sources of food on Wam's side, but of course there's the Guildhall as well, churning away.
Yeah, I mean, that fight was obviously something that Wam needed. And MarineLorD, he's kind of set himself up. He's not in a dire spot behind it because of all the defense he got ready. He's also zooming out archers. I kind of want to see how much he has around that keep right now. Another relic being grabbed by MarineLorD. So just making sure, and yeah, I mean, he has to start thinking about how do I counter the elephants pretty soon. And ARBs are a great way to do it, but no ARBs yet on the field. This little army that Wam has available does pack a punch in a direct fight, but I tell you what, that is a lot of unarmored units here, Winston.
Yeah, and the Knights could have a field day. Meanwhile, the Archers are upgraded for both players. The Knights getting a charge in. There is the healer elephant, so the little poke damage isn't going to be enough. You have to focus units down if you are MarineLorD. This is such a tight moment for both players. Wam going to try and force the issue after that great pickup on those Knights before. He has maybe a moment or two of advantage that he has to make use of.
Yeah, and I mean, MarineLorD's doing such a good job of just making it so if you attack me, you have to come into my base. You have to go into these buildings, and we all know how the units like to attack, but is this the fight he wants? The big daddy elephant out in the field. Not going to be able to deal with that directly. The healing being really good. MarineLorD still has an archer advantage for the time being, but now matched by Wam, who is winning this engagement, trying to thin out that archer count and the spearman count, and MarineLorD's doing nothing but producing archers right now, though he's only got 2 guys left on wood.
Yeah, this is really good micro for MarineLorD, I think, in this moment. He's just been focusing down the units of Wam. The numbers have been thinned out dramatically, and those units were important. You kind of want the buffer for these war elephants. There are now 2 on the field and going to be very challenging to take out until there are a lot of Arbaletier on the field. There are 10 in queue, but none on the field yet.
None on the field yet, indeed. And I mean, MarineLorD did manage to sneak out that food out of the guild hall last minute there, so made use of a good 800, 900 food immediately. The longer this game goes on for without that guild hall, that really kind of nullifies a good vantage point for MarineLorD. The berries still available on MarineLorD's side of the map, still available in all of them actually on MarineLorD's side. Wam does have to think about how does he utilize this army right now, because those elephants, even though they're great, they are a bit on a clock against the arms.
I'm not quite sure how MarineLorD did it, but he did somehow snag a 3rd relic that he's looping back now. The Arbaletier, though, on the retreat. The elephants and the archers just charging forward. These war elephants are going to be so challenging to take out. Well, the healer elephants are on the map.
Yeah, MarineLorD actually for a moment there had 0 on food. I think he was really committed to getting all this on the left side of the map, which is very exposed over here. And in fact, there's a big Tuklak owning this south side of the map, but now we do see, can Wam get home? Can he? I mean, that's so much firepower in that back line. 1 hero elephant does fall immediately. Second one, maybe not going to meet its maker. And Wam, he's using the archers, the range to kind of bait back, get out those elephants out the backside, but can he be taking these fights right now? I don't think so. MarineLorD looking to absolutely take it, but again, so patient with how he's taking these fights, just making sure that Wam has to commit with these slow melee units.
Yeah, and trying to take these shots very carefully with his ranged mass. He doesn't just want to waste shots onto the elephants until it's really clear that there isn't a better option, because they will just heal up with these healer elephants. Do have a good position for Wam on these berries. Gonna deal a little bit of damage. Might get a Vil pick here to try and neutralize. No, the 1 to hurt villager able to escape. Now Wam forced onto this gold here, and we do see...
Oh, that is going to be a galley over here. They do have textiles now, so they survive for a little bit longer. MarineLorD fairly quick to react, maybe not going to losing a single villager. And the tower does deal with that galley rather handily, but you can see that MarineLorD's being thinned out a bit. No longer has true food income right now, especially with losing that guild hall. I know he was remaking it, but this is a stressful time for him. His army's not building up as fast as he wanted it to. Is going to deplete this gold in the south, so maybe he can focus more on the right side of the map. But you got to remember, that governor with the food is kind of like a little mini Falani in a lot of ways.
Yeah, generating 300 food per minute right now, and could do a little bit more if 1 more house was built since the stone was depleted. But on the side of MarineLorD, we have something that I've been saying is his signature all weekend. He's added some farms in. He's found the space to just start macroing for the later stages of the game, realizing that the food is going to run out. He has built a decent chunk of farms, which will somewhat solve the food issue for now. Certainly not enough right in this moment, but with just a little bit of time, with this economic advantage, MarineLorD is surely going to keep crawling ahead.
It's kind of...
Oh, more villagers getting caught!
Oh, and those Knights getting a big, juicy hit there. Remember, the eco of Wam is not as good as MarineLorD's, and here, doing the same thing again, just utilizing the movement against these elephants, taking them down 1 by 1.
The Arbalist just getting so many shots under these big tanky boys. Only 3 elephants remain, 1 healer on the map, meaning Wam will have to reproduce those in order to have a large healing force and keep that structure alive. It is so challenging right now for Wam. He is slowly winning the small battle on the water, which could threaten some of the gold sources. for MarineLorD, but he does have 3 relics, 1,700 gold in the bank, Sacred Site victory on the way. MarineLorD is looking so inevitable in this moment.
It's kind of cool that MarineLorD managed to grab that relic, not on just his side of the map, but on the other side of the map.
Yes.
Now he's got Sacred Site control as well. We do see that the crossbow count is getting a lot higher for Wam, but he's still playing catch up in that regard. And whoa, that is such a big juicy raid here. Look at the worker count on both these sides, 81 now to 43.
He's going to double him up.
And for the first time, I'm looking at the webcam for Wam's face. That was a big sigh there, realizing that, oh my goodness, moving in the chair as well, changing the posture, realizing that even though a few things went right this game, it's still the kind of rolling the ball up the hill, Sisyphus style, against the champ, the king, the MarineLorD.
Yeah, we saw so many attacks from Wam so far, right? Onto these gold miners with the ships and little engages here and there, and still 0 Vil killed for Wam. That is now almost a 10,000 resource collected lead for MarineLorD, even denying the wall in the north while he has his own here in the center of the map. Wam once again positioning, has equal numbers, has a good chunk of elephants, but the massive Arbaletier is now up to 30, soon 36. Trebuchets on the field to start pushing these fortified positions of Wam.
Yeah, this is going to start spelling, I feel a little bit of doom and gloom here, putting a fort up so aggressively as well. I don't know where that first Treb is, or even the Siege Workshop here. It's very aggressively placed, and as Socotra gets smaller, those wood camps in the middle of the map become so darn important. Treb fire underway now. Wam's going to feel that there's another thing he has to worry about on the field.
Well, first blood for Wam on the economy of MarineLorD. A few Vils going down here, forced a little rotation, but the army for MarineLorD just behind this wood line as well. The elephants pushing through the gap. This is going to be an uphill battle for Wam potentially, but he's got the numbers. The Trebs are in the way, trying to walk backwards. They're going to tank a few hits. The Arbalist taking out the elephants one at a time. 2 have gone down, 1 has gone down, more will go down. The Knights charging from the side.
And look, Pavis is being used on these Arbs as well, meaning that they have extra range armor. Trample being used by Wam, trying to go down this very thin corridor, but look at that arc of pure French power in the back line here. Just range units remaining, and now MarineLorD being so careful with those horsemen and those knights, keeping them alive, and now they can play big, lad, tanky boys in the front line, all elephants fleeing the field here, and the number of Arbs available is tremendous. 34, 6 more on the way, and they're all a lot cheaper as well. GG!
Wow, what a game from MarineLorD. You know, we really looked at Wam's setup there in the early game, and it looked so solid, so good. And then there were just 2 Knight charges. First it was 4 Vils, and then another 10 while trying to build these buildings, build that defense up. And it just seemed like the game was so hard for Wam after that point. Things just got so dicey so quick. You can see how these small, tight maps just favor this aggression so much, and MarineLorD probably very happy to be getting a win with his favorite civilization.
He's done well so far, hasn't he? French against Tuklak. I mean, Tuklak has been kind of a little bit of a dark horse here. We still haven't seen it win, but you've definitely been seeing these little hints of light at how it can be very dangerous, because if MarineLorD was not able to get some of those villager kills early, or those villagers kept on building that fort and then hopped in, maybe minimizing the losses a lot there, we could be looking at a very different story. It's just MarineLorD's so good about these situations where it's like, it looks pretty rough, but he always thinks a few steps ahead on how to get himself out of it. Farm transition was pretty darn good, even though he lost the guild hall, which is a big food income source as well. Managed to get out the right units, and he was so patient about how he took these fights. I loved a lot of that game.
Yeah, that was a really clear display of both players' strengths, and I'm really excited to see how this plays out. We even saw these little skirmishes early where it looked like Wam really just had the perfect answer to MarineLorD's opening. I really thought, you know, this is the best way you can deal with French, and he made it look pretty simple and trivial. Like, he had the build down, he got the early textiles, things just felt so difficult to attack, but when those French Knights charged in, and this pull micro here, I think it's just a testament to the skill of MarineLorD. To somehow not lose any villagers is crazy. You have to kind of shuffle and dodge. It's challenging there. We also saw later he pulled only the wood vills back over to the gold mine, not to risk them getting caught again. But this was the game-ending moment, basically, where the lead was held by MarineLorD.
And look, he starts fighting with the villagers. I know they have textiles, but I really feel that that was maybe a choice that Wam may come to later regret, because after this, very shortly after, we had that lovely cage moment. And you don't see that very often. I think this is it, where all of a sudden, all of a sudden, it's like, boom, there's a wall up. There's a wall up. You can't get out of there. Very nicely done, because you can see every turn these knights go for, you can't go for it anymore. And all of a sudden, MarineLorD was looking like, even after doing all that eco damage, the game got kind of reset a little bit.
Yeah, that might be my favorite play I've ever seen. Like, that might be one of the best plays ever, and we're gonna get it again. Yeah, that we should. This is so cool. So they're able to build these palisade walls with their infantry units. That includes the archers and the spear, and so just pulling out and really getting that great surround with the walls early. That quick wall play, something you see a lot more in H2 than you do in H4.
Yeah, and I mean, that was especially important given that these knights do regenerate. So if that fight was something that those knights could get away with, then come back again just a few moments later, Wam would have been dead right there and then. But I tell you what, there was water fights going on here, there, and everywhere. So many villagers did fall for Wam. You could really feel that Tuklak was still kind of scary, despite losing 27 vills this game. It really does showcase that Tuklak can be quite scary, but look how much damage these arbs do.
I mean, it's 37 Arbalist. Arbalist, right? That is a lot of units on the field there for MarineLorD. Crazy, and even as a sacred victory timing right here, he just got everything. He got 3 relics, so there's only 1 left on the map that was on Wam's side and wasn't really able to grab it.
I also like that he was very careful about, if the war elephants are on the front line, I don't send my horses forward.
Yes.
He was so careful about it. And you see, even when the spears, there's a few spears hitting, it's like the knights are juking and jiving back and forth. Just very cool play. Out of both of them, honestly. It's not often you get to see Tuklak, but the Tuklak that I've seen so far out of Wam, that was really cool. Because it was a mix as well. It was like the old school healer elephant stuff, but not the all-in. You really saw that he tried to make kind of a mishmash, and it really looked a bit scary for a while, actually, because he was doing it very darn well.
As scary as those, like, big, shining, armored statues behind each of the players?
The looming statues behind them, yeah. Arms of coats, or coat of arms even. But, okay. So last pick for both these players did lose. First pick for both of these players did win. We're now left with Sengoku, Japanese, and Hachery for Wam. And we've got Zhu Shi, Macedonia, and Ayabid. Now, if you're Wam, depending on the map, and you have Sengoku Japanese available, worst case scenario, you will potentially be forced into playing Hachery on the final map. But both these players do have to be thinking about that, because the civs that are left over, Ayabid doesn't necessarily like to go up against Japan. No civ necessarily likes to go up against Sengoku. And we got Macedonia as well. Like, it's a very, very awkward and tight situation. Both these players have got to be putting forward a lot of possible scenarios that they might not want to encounter.
Yeah, the draft is going to be really challenging at this point. You can see both players simply so focused on this moment. This is everything. We're at that magical 2 number, right? This is a best of 5. The next game that MarineLorD wins will be another tournament for him. He is just 1 map away. 1 map away to do it again, to bring it back.
And then kind of confirming his status as the AoE4 GOAT if he hasn't done already, right? But still, you got to think, Wam so far in the games that he's lost, he hasn't looked bad doing it. Like he had, as Vortex mentioned, it was kind of a very unfavorable matchup for him with Golden Horde against Ottoman. The second game he played very well, but again, a good matchup for him. And in the matchup that Tuklak, being one of the worst civs on land, he still make it look very formidable, and still having Sengoku and Japanese in your roster, that doesn't feel all that bad. He's just got to be so careful on what he goes up against, because the thing is, if you're MarineLorD and you have Macedonia, Zhu Shi, Ayabid, those are all 3 very good civs remaining. Like,
Yes.
if this goes to the final map and he's got one of those against Hachery, which one do you want? Honestly, I'm spoiled for choice if I'm MarineLorD.
Yeah, and I think that's what could bite Wam here, but I think we'll have to see how that plays out. I mean, Sengoku and Japanese are both just so threatening themselves, though. Those mounted samurais have been the talk of the town, as they have just rampaged around this entire tournament, running map after map, and we'll see if that's going to be Wam's Hail Mary here in this next game, as I'm almost undoubtedly sure we're going to see mounted samurai being a key part of this next matchup.
Yeah, and what map's it going to be? I mean, we've still got Dry Arabia, we've still got Phrygian Marshes. Now,
Yeah.
Frisian, Heishuri could be played there, wouldn't be too bad. Maybe it's one that Sengoku doesn't really want to go for. I mean, it's possible for sure, but Japan also quite likes it, cheaper barrack situation. And for, on MarineLorD's side of things, like an Aya Bid or a Zushi, Macedonia we've seen used on it as well. Wow, I tell you what, maybe feeling the pressure for the first time in his final career.
Yeah, that was a big sigh there from MarineLorD. Just like a really big inhale, exhale, like a breathing exercise almost, just to really calm down and get focused, get centered. That last game was very hectic. There was a lot going on there. You know, it looked like maybe just one fight in the middle after another, but actually there were skirmishes on the north, the south. The walling situation was wild. The scouting information had to be on point. And those little ship skirmishes matter a lot when it's literally, you lose access to gold if you lose too many ships in a row, right? You have to stay on point with that. You have to keep producing the ships. That is challenging. It really stretches the players to be playing on Socotra. And so now we're going on to the next map, and the mental state, you have to just bring it back in, right?
There's so much balancing you have to do in AoE4, especially in a game like that. Like the water, the land, the army, the eco, and just thinking constantly steps ahead of what is the next weakness, what is my next power struggle kind of thing, situation that I have to deal with. And it's going to be Japan for Wam against the Macedonian dynasty from MarineLorD.
And the instant barracks, so we got an immediate drush. This is no super surprise when it's Japan. This is something they love to do. An early move out to the hunt with the farmhouse, going to be the follow-up for Wam. Meanwhile, MarineLorD with the Macedonians. What do you think the key to his strategy is here?
This is actually already kind of funny in the sense that Wam's moved out immediately to Dia with Japan, which they don't often do, especially not with the barracks first kind of thing. So immediately going for that means that he's going to have pretty safe food if he does choose to try and get a fast stage 3, meaning that you can then resort to your berries, your deer in your main base. So already thinking about if he gets taken off that food later on or is a bit food starved. You do see here that MarineLorD being very careful about getting a little wall around his gold, so he doesn't want to be, you know, taken too far apart against just a single spearman opening by Wam here.
Yeah, just the one spearman, maybe to force a little bit of a reaction. Of course, Japan gets that cheaper barracks, so it's really not that big of an investment to just get this one guy to go force a reaction. If the gold is out of range, which it clearly is here, it means that there's going to be some spiciness for MarineLorD. He did do that little tiny quick wall, that little tiny wall to force the spearman kind of around into TC range if he wants to get in range, but that is quite the expense, right? It almost kind of compensates Japan for that barracks cost, right? And now you have a barracks and your opponent has some very tiny awkward walls on their gold. So interesting openings from both, but no major damage.
No major damage, and both these civs are civs that, you know, they can hit feudal without too much trouble. We've seen Macedonia, they can hit feudal and it's like they don't worry too much about the gold. Yes, it will deny them from silver later on as well. But both these civs aren't strangers to just kind of playing their own game or getting knocked off course too hard. Imperial Hippodrome will be the age up of choice, and that is by far and away the best or the better of two for them, meaning they'll get out those hero units, those hero cav, and allowing him to have real strong map presence without much cost.
Yeah, Wam already has the barracks up, which is going to be very convenient in this matchup, right? You know the Hippodrome is coming, which almost inevitably, you're at least going to train one horseman just to say what's up, say hello, and just force some reaction. So Japan being on those hunt, maybe he can stay a little bit longer if he has another spear there or brings his own spear back. He's currently just doing some interesting shenanigans, trying to force some reactions from MarineLorD, make this a little awkward as he's denying the deer.
This is just making sure, making sure that MarineLorD can't get all the deer in one nice little spot here, meaning that the gathering of them a little bit annoying. You saw that on MarineLorD's face as well. A little bit of a shake of the head there, realizing that his closest deer pack that he inevitably is going to want to take is a little bit weird.
Yeah, that spear getting a lot of value there, forcing MarineLorD to just kill them all now and drop them where they were. And now he needs to bring these sheep home. The Kura Storehouse, no surprise on the side of Wam. He's got the Hippodrome to deal with, but already the spears.
It's honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about the situation right now. Both players going for a very modest age up, 3 apiece, so not massive rush being done there. I'm mainly curious about what Wam chooses to do when he hits age 2. he's got a few choices available. Does he skip H2 entirely, just going straight for, you know, a fast castle, getting out those mounted samurai? Your opponent, what are his strengths? A Varangian guard push, which could be annoying, but they're not the best against the Yumis because they have low range armor. But Radari have to be on your mind. They have to be. So trying to get to a stage of the game where he doesn't have to worry about those too much, and he's already got the deer outside his base. I mean, the options are endless.
Yeah, that first horseman in queue just going to be a nuisance. Just try and find some damage. Maybe a few more will join. Usually players like to build between 1 and 4 just to see what they can get damage, and then of course the Hippodrome Horseman hops out and buffs them up, which makes a nice little raiding force, pretty challenging to handle and deal with. Looks like we're going to see more than just 1 horseman.
Wam's been pretty damn cool about his gold income here. Like, he's getting the berry upgrade here, meaning he can gather berries a little faster, making his workers a little bit quicker too. Those deer, very nicely worked on as well. He's got enough gold to get the wood chopping upgrade, which can often be a choice that players go for. Going to get the spear upgrade as well, making sure he's been producing a couple of spears back at home. And MarineLorD going immediately for those archer units here, which I quite like out of him, meaning that you can open up a path, deal with those archers, allow your horsemen to reign free.
Yeah, just has to make a few of them first, right? At least get a few out so that you can then make more horsemen. Economy is very small at this point, and we do see a push out to that hunt on the right side. Looks like a big chunk of villagers, so enough for 2 towers. Probably 2 outposts need to be built there in order to protect them. We'll see if that is the play of choice. I mean, nothing super aggressive from Wam, so maybe could delay those, but at some point you like to protect them, and that's a lot of vills going to the hunt.
It really is. A spearman here, sat on that gold, kind of hiding there behind a villager. Now MarineLorD's food income will be sorted. Going to get a wheelbarrow just to make sure his own villagers can move around a nice little bit quicker here. And no damage is able to be done on either side. Wam does have a lot of food available. Is going to start trying to get a tower on this gold. Granted, this is quite a bit later. Going to use these villagers over here to gather the stone, and I wouldn't be surprised if he wants to put down an immediate house next to those deer, just to make sure he doesn't need to build a forge over there. It's a smart play.
Yeah, some interesting maneuvers there, some nice macro. The horseman going to come in, try and do a little poke. The 1 archer there could be a nuisance.
That 1 archer is actually very quick for Macedonia. Very often it's not one of the units you make immediately as this Civ. But there are horsemen being produced by Wam. On how many stables, I wonder, because he has had a decent income that, up until this point, was left untouched for the most part. Wait a minute, he's still got those villagers on the stone there, so maybe thinking about getting a daimyo up and running?
Just without building the forge. I mean, the forge isn't that expensive, but I guess maybe just trying to save what he can. Every resource must be spared. It's a long haul, though. That is a big walk time.
That is a big walk time indeed, and if archers are on the field and horsemen, what's good against all that? I mean, you could say your own horsemen, especially with a Uma Bannerman, but I'm very, very curious about how Wam's going about this, because this feels like it is going to be a fast castle, but he's kind of just done what he did in the Malian game, where he's just made sure that he's not super weak getting there. And I think against an aggressive Civ, that's a smart choice.
Yeah, I would love to see maybe a wall on that north side to try and like rein in some of the potential Hippodrome raids, because he is getting the first Daimyo Manor and has upgraded that outpost on the stone, but now the archers under attack from these horsemen. Not going to be the biggest deal as the spearmen are in position to defend. MarineLorD looking good to hold his own hunt as well.
So seeing that it's horsemen being produced from Wam, and that was the first time that we saw them, MarineLorD is like, you know what, I'll get horseman armor over here, making sure that all my units are tanky, because I don't think this game is going to end anytime soon. So that's an investment in not only his horses now, but the Radari later. And yeah, you pointed it out to me. Wam is looking like he wants to get that castle going.
MarineLorD not too far behind, but he has spent a good chunk of his gold on these upgrades recently. Just now getting wheelbarrow. Only 5 on gold means that his Egypt will be a good chunk later. It will probably be the Golden Horn Tower in a solid position, maybe buy those hunts over there to try and defend that, maybe near the main to get the second gold online. Not quite sure.
Those 2 big golds aren't that far apart in the center of the map. That could be very annoying. Ooh. And Wam was very quick to pull those villagers off deer way earlier to get that stone. Just thinking about the possibility of them getting attacked. Oh, but this is quite a few horsemen.
Let's get this around. We'll take 1 vill down already.
Yeah, that's really nice by him, and gets the villager off the gold, slowing down the potential of getting an H3 quicker as well. This is all nice by Wam, because we do see resource-wise, he's also being slowed down, using the other villagers to body block, keeping that low villager alive, and immediately, boom, starts throwing down the landmark, and that is something that MarineLorD did see, but can he do anything about it? He's looking to get his own castle. He's not got the units out to deal with it. He's just got to play catch-up, knowing that he's going to be behind on that front.
Yeah, an interesting moment there. Both players, Horseman getting a little bit of value. Wam obviously getting that one villager kill is a huge boon to his setup at this time. Now the gold's still a problem for MarineLorD on this age up. Does have the food, but not the gold. And once again, the gold is attacked. Wam somehow finding the right spot here, delaying that age up again. And the villagers are just sent back into the grind of the 4 horsemen. Going to be forced to retreat, but so much idle time. That age up is so delayed.
It's so delayed here, Winston. Those guys wanted to have that age up already going. So the fact that they've been slowed down and these horsemen just doing puppy paw and wham things, being there, being annoying, wasn't a massive commitment. And now Floating Gate online. What is going to be the unit of choice? Most likely Mounted Samurai, I am guessing, and it is going to be Mounted Samurai, and they're going to be getting boosted from that Yashiro.
We talked about it during the draft and right before this game. The Mounted Samurai have been such a dominant unit in recent times. It's a knight that just does a little bit more, and that little bit more is so important in these fights. Now, there are Radari on the side of MarineLorD. He has opted to place this Golden Horn Tower to defend those hunt patches on the north, which leaves the gold on the south exposed. This is going to be a very difficult position to defend now, because the base is kind of obvious to attack. We see the Bannerman here too.
And you got to remember, this is a Bannerman that just hit age 3, so this is going to be quite a bit stronger. Going to try and take down as many, but no villagers falling yet, but still, MarineLorD needs gold. Those Radari are incredibly expensive.
Has he not scouted that corner gold on the far right of the map? It is kind of behind the Golden Horn Tower. He does see it. Maybe he's just thinking he can defend this position with army, but the Bannerman is still here. He has not sent his units to defend it. A villager could go down and will Wam with 2 Vil kills on the board and a lot of idle Vils for MarineLorD.
And look at Wam, by the way, already adding on Onimusha very early by him as well, realizing the potential threat of those very heavy armored Radari that will be on the field. MarineLorD doing a little tip of the head there, realizing that something bad happened, and yeah, there's another Samurai in his gold. Wam being relentless with his harass on that gold, slowing it down.
Yeah, I mean, both Wam and Puppy, I feel like this is quickly becoming their signature. It must be a key part of their practice, is just moving individual knights around the map. We talked about it earlier in the Malian game. That one sofa felt so key to distracting MarineLorD, keeping him honest. Several knights were always running around chasing these raiding cavalry, and other players sometimes raid with more units, but the Canadian brothers get so much value from just the one.
Yeah, for a moment there I was like, doesn't Wam have any relics? So he's been utilizing a lot of his resources just to get out as many units as possible to do all this slowing down. But he has gathered one of the relics that was a little bit tricky to get and brought it back home, just not yet with a monastery. So you can really tell that a lot of his focus here is just making sure that he's out there slowing down his opponent however he can. Now he's starting to expand out on the map a little bit. MarineLorD very aware that his opponent can get relics quite a bit quicker than him.
MarineLorD, now that he's in the Castle Age, starting to diversify his army, grabbing relics as well. Adding in those crossbowmen from the Golden Horn Tower will kind of help round out this composition. And once again, with the addition of the Onimusha, the gold villager walls are no longer enough, as they can simply shoot over this gold mine and hit the villagers. And MarineLorD once again idle on the gold, wondering if that gold on the right just isn't appealing at this time. It could relieve so much pressure, but MarineLorD so good at these reactions, but 3 Vils down is so challenging in this moment. And now a big forced fight by the Mounted Samurai. They're going to get an interesting engagement here, but there's so many spearmen from MarineLorD and a few crossbowmen as well. The Mounted Samurai trading some HP and a few of their brethren. Not much on the other side of things.
I tell you what, I don't think MarineLorD's going to be sad about that one at all. The relic was snagged in the north, by the way. I think the Radari kind of... Oh, there's a monk over there trying to grab it. So that monk on a journey to absolutely nowhere might quickly go for the sacred site in the middle or in the north over there.
Goodbye.
Radari here, trying to get the Wololo going. Oh, I thought we were going to hear it in the crowd then for a second, but MarineLorD now feeling that his moment of being a little bit strong is now. He's got the range upgrade for his units. The crossbow count is going to start getting higher very naturally from that golden horn.
Yoink.
And boom, he's going to bring that one back home.
There's Onimusha though, so even if you block with your own units, the timing isn't going to work out for the Wololo here, I think. Yeah, down it goes, but it is a little bit closer now to MarineLorD. We have a good old-fashioned tug-of-war for the relic in the north.
Yeah, I wonder what the Yashiras have been placed on for Wam, by the way, because now he's got 2 relics in a monastery. We do have it on the archer range second. What's his third one? Most of the time it's on like a gold, or it was in the past, but yeah, TC can be a very good option as well. Getting so many resources, and he's been free from getting harassed this game as well, which is really nice for him.
Yeah, this game is just building up the tension here. The players trying to angle for little tiny advantages. Nothing major yet, but we are, I think, brewing towards another clash over this relic. Both players with a monk heading for it. They're like, I want it. No, I want it. Give it to me. And now both players checking to make sure the other hasn't. There's this really annoying forest here that's sort of blocking the vision.
MarineLorD's been very different about the upgrades that he's been getting, by the way. A lot of players really focus on getting those Radari through and through. MarineLorD getting like infantry armor as well. Now focusing on the range upgrade. So being very good about reacting to what his opponent's making. Are spearmen great in this situation? You bet. Because they're good against the Onimusha, good against the samurai. Trying to keep alive these villagers with a Wololo. We'll be able to do so for a little bit of time, but that's a lot of low health villagers over here, and that samurai smells blood, and whoa, lovely block there with the villagers, just making sure that samurai cannot get through.
Great micro again from MarineLorD to mitigate the losses, but once again, Wam finding a way onto that gold mine. It feels like a tale as old as time. MarineLorD must be a little annoyed and peeved by it, but he doesn't seem shaken as he's been able to nab that relic yoinked back again by MarineLorD, and the mounted samurai are like, wait, where'd it go?
Yeah, kind of funny that Wam went this long without getting any sort of upgrades. Now he's going for double upgrades, getting the Daimyo level 2 as well, meaning that he will be able to add more bannermen. We do see a pretty big switch on the archers by him. There are still quite a lot of spear on the field, but right now the army that he has available isn't really meant for dealing with this number of those Macedonian spearmen, and that number's getting higher. The Yumi count, though, also getting significantly higher here.
Yeah, and also the mounted samurai count is scary here. That exchange did trade a few of Wam's units, definitely in favor of MarineLorD in that exchange, but it just seems like the mounted samurai count is still a big fear. Up to 9 crossbows from the Golden Horn Tower and 21 at gear for those spearmen to hold that front line. It's gonna be tight here. If Wam does decide to take this engagement, it will be challenging. He has the superior units, but does he have the numbers to handle? MarineLorD just charging down the center of his base, will go for this outpost, forces the charge from the rear. The Atgeir will get a few kills on the front lines, but the archers now exchanging fire across the front.
And I tell you what, Wam is like 20-30 seconds away from having 2-2 done on his range units, which is a big deal. Keeps these samurai alive for a lot longer. Nice range focus fire by MarineLorD, but I tell you what, there's so many mounted samurai here in the face of his opponent, keeping alive all these Yumis. The Yumis focusing down the crossbows on the back line as well. Looks like it's going to be a cleanup from Wam here, dealing with a lot of the army. A nice runestone gets popped, meaning that all these range units deal a lot of extra damage and movement and range, but there is just so much Wam here.
Yeah, but now there's crossbows still in the retreat. They have the movement speed from that Hippodrome Radari, which is boosting up all these infantry units. The mounted samurai numbers are thinning. There was a quick raid from MarineLorD during that fight. He did find 4 villager kills for himself, but once again, he has 15 idle villagers, probably on that gold mine, maybe from another raid from Wam. Things are really heating up here as the cavalry now charge, force MarineLorD back across to his base, hightailing it home. Will the reinforcements be enough? The Golden Horn Tower is just beyond our sight here to the right. It will provide a moment of respite for MarineLorD after maybe a pretty successful attack.
I think it wasn't bad for him, you know. Like, he wanted to get more done out of that, obviously, seeing that upgrade timer, but thanks to Japan having forgers, being the same as blacksmiths, he was able to catch up on those upgrades incredibly quick. And now, the special weapon in MarineLorD's army, which was those spears, have been well and truly countered by the number of Yumis that are available. And look at the income at the top. We do see that Wam's income across the board is just quite a bit higher than that of the Macedonia.
Yeah, but he's just currently slurping up this deer pack on the left of the map, once again forcing the issue on this gold, but MarineLorD is nowhere to be seen. He's already added a few of those greedy, classic MarineLorD farms in to try and get the scaling going early. These Mounted Samurai are only going to find a single spearman for their trouble.
And I tell you what, having those blacks, or rather barracks, also be towers there, helping with the defense a little bit, but natural food resources definitely being diminished here on both sides of the map. We're going to have to start thinking about transitions. What did they go for? MarineLorD has 800 silver stacked up here, thinking about most likely a tier 3 archer upgrade, which would allow that back line just to fire that little bit stronger.
Things are getting interesting here. Wam adding a bunch of farms in of his own, has now added 5 naturally. Of course, there are the Kura Storehouse farms, which are a nice advantage for him in this situation, but you can see the macros are picking up the players, angling for a bit of a longer game here as both players just try and hold their eco. Maybe MarineLorD happy with the damage he dealt in that last engagement.
Yeah, and I tell you what, even though Wam was quick to start getting the relics, MarineLorD didn't skip a beat either. Grabbing 2 of the relics, he did hold that sacred site at the north as well, just getting any sort of eco grab that he possibly can. But I dare say in the next couple of minutes of this game, Wam is going to look to utilize this big spike of food income that he has available for the time being, because those berries and deer are not long for this world. Even getting a second TC behind this.
Yeah, this game could go the distance here. If Wam isn't able to take a really decisive fight, we could just be looking at a bit of a macro play. Of course, MarineLorD needs to make a move onto the map, probably to decap some of these sacred sites. Could maybe just split off the single cavalry. I don't know how much Wam feels that it is a win condition at this moment, more than just it's nice to get the gold.
MarineLorD did go for the +2 armor on the cavalry, meaning these Radari are again getting stronger and stronger, still adding on a bunch of Radari, a bunch of spears as well. The armies are going to be very awkward to micro against because both of their archers don't really want to be shooting the big chunky boy samurai type units or horsemen, but that mounted samurai count here over here, Winston, 22 and growing. Also the Onimusha count doing a very good job of seeing the army and responding to what he's making and making the appropriate counters.
Yeah, it feels like it's going to get really awkward for MarineLorD, right? Like, what units is he going to make? He just needs a lot of them, right? He's not producing anything right now. He clearly, maybe he doesn't know what to make. Maybe he wants to try and sneak in an Imperial Age if his opponent isn't going to attack. But now, a little skirmish across the middle. The archers are firing back and forth. The Sacred Site going to get decapped. The Mounted Samurai looking to angle for an engagement. The Radari are just going to commit the Athgear behind it. And Wam is going to wipe this fight.
He certainly is. He's got so many Mounted Samurai here, just wrapping around to that back squishy line, taking out the front line very handily indeed. All the Radari swept off the map. Those archers running for their lives. They do no damage whatsoever to these units, and Wam takes a 30 supply lead here. Even the slow crossbows, the spearmen are going to try and do what they can. Quite a few in that back line there, but MarineLorD's food income is not there. It is just not a level playing field. You see a lot of farms being produced, but I tell you what, Wam is not going to let him breathe or get that opportunity.
Yeah, he just placed all these farms here and he just lost the fight in the middle of the map. Wam just charging down with the Samurai. The Athgear making the last valiant stand. Will it be enough? Surely not. The number is just there for Wam, and GG is called. We are going to game 5.
This is awesome to see. This man right here on the camera, the only person in the history of AoE4 to not just take 1 map off MarineLorD in a final of Wololo, but 2, bringing him to match point here. It's all down to 1 game here, Winston, and I tell you what, these players will be feeling the nerves in front of one of the biggest audiences they've ever played in front of.
Things are now tense, and we have to look back at the draft because we have 2 civs left on the final game, which means that you can essentially snipe the opponent's civ, so we could just see Wam playing HRE. Not one of the strongest civs coming into this tournament, but he picked it with confidence in the semifinals.
And it's going to be Frisian as our final map as well, I believe.
What a crazy map, too. We've had so many incredible Frisian games this game, but let's first take a look at some of these replays. I feel like Wam got so much tempo from those raids on the gold mine.
I mean, honestly, the amount of gold that he denied there, slowing down the H3 of his opponent many, many, many times. The food was there, but the gold wasn't. Just needed one more drop-off, but Wam somehow just knew about it. Some of these fights looked like they could have been a bit close. You see here that Wam doesn't want to truly engage until those upgrades are done, just trying to utilize the range, getting the charges in here, there, and everywhere. Once they came in, though, he's managed to hold this army back.
Yeah, and I think MarineLorD was probably happy with this engagement. He was able to pick off a few vills in the north there with the Radaris, and I mean, it kind of looked okay here. It just, as the game progressed, he was sitting on like 1,000 resources and just took a fight in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, this was rough.
This fight. Like, he just started to produce as this fight took off. He had nothing in queue when he took this engagement, maybe overestimating his position here, but Wam surely didn't miscalculate at all. He knew he had the lead, and he just took the fight. He said, "You're offering, I'll take you up on it."
Yeah, this is one of those situations where MarineLorD could have been assuming that his opponent was actually doing like a farm transition while that was going off, but we saw how committed Wam was to getting all that wildlife off the map, all the berries as well. There was still like a boar in the south there that could have been MarineLorD's potentially, I suppose, with Macedonia. They can mine the boar, right? Gather the boar? Yeah, okay, okay. I just think there, it's been a long AoE4 series when it comes down to it, but yeah, I think that's something that he thought about. And Wam wasn't like super greedy in that regard. He was also getting farms in the mix. He got a second TC behind it as well. Wam was not like, you know, honing in on finishing the game right there and then. He was also thinking a few steps down the line, and it just felt that once he got the ball rolling, it was forever sliding downhill with MarineLorD sitting there ready to take it at the other end.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take a moment here as players get ready for the next game. What could be going through their heads at this moment? I mean, Wam looks the same as he did at the start of game one. He looks so calm. He looks so prepared for this moment. He is rising to the challenge, to the legend of MarineLorD in these Wololos.
This is tough because MarineLorD, is he gonna want to play Sengoku on Phrygian? Actually, of all maps, that might be one that Sengoku doesn't thrive on. Whereas Hatchery, of the maps, they can play it, but these civs are just in two totally different leagues. So both these players do have to think about things. Which civ is Wam gonna consider going up against his Hatchery? Zushi's kind of a rough one. Iabid, very rough actually. But yeah, you can see that both these players under a lot of pressure here. They brought each other to the finish line, but which one is going to be the one to take it all home?
I almost have to feel that MarineLorD is going to snipe out Sengoku here. I think it's inevitable, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's inevitable.
I think you snipe out Sengoku. I mean, Phrygian is a map where there are battles potentially everywhere. And if you have the ability to have the fastest horseman and samurai in the game, you don't want that. You really don't want that. Even if you've got like Iabid or Zushi, I think you get yourself out of that situation. So if he is against Hatchery, and he's got Iabid or Zushi, I still feel that is in MarineLorD's court there. But again, you know, these guys are both better than me. And I mean, Hatchery, it being this kind of wild card pick, and this is one of the better maps for it, you got to be a little bit worried if you are MarineLorD about that as well.
And he's taking just a sip here as everyone's just preparing. A shake of the head there, clearly thinking about that last game maybe a little and just disappointed, knows he is kind of expected to deliver in these moments, and that was tough.
It was tough, but Wam looking pretty calm and cool. I feel the pressure is a little bit on him, you know. Because if he has gone for this weird pick here that he might be forced to play, I just wonder what he's going to pull out, because in the semi-finals it did not look too great for him. Granted, it was going up against Ottoman, and nothing looks great against Ottoman, but he's done it. He's got to the final, obviously, and down to the final map as well.
And look at all those beautiful people in the crowd. Can we get it up for game number 5 in just a moment? Yeah. And then right after that, we'll be live with AoE 2 Grand Finals, Hera versus Leary. So things are just getting great here in Londinium.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of those AoE 2 fans out there, very often in StarCraft, when we have like a, you know, a bit of a lopsided semi-finals where it isn't the best day, we always know a great Grand Finals day is going to happen. And I hope it's going to be the same way later for you guys. And if this series is anything to go by, you're in for a good one later on as well.
Oh yeah, and you can see Wam still just, his facial expressions have not changed yet.
Iceman.
Iceman, ooh, that's a cool nickname. Is that it now? Is that what we call him?
Iceman. Has a nice big polar bear as well. Ooh. Man from Canada. Lots of ice. Who knows, who knows. Ooh, and we're going to get right on into it. Final map here for the Age of Empires 4 finals between this man spawning over in the top as our IBID player. It is MarineLorD. And in the camera switch, but over to the left as our red HRE player. It is Wam.
Yeah, and we saw Wam pick it. I mean, HRE has been used on Frisian in the past, so this isn't such a crazy pick. It's been used, I think it's fallen out of the meta since the last DLC where Civ's kind of shifted up and really changed how it goes. The map has also undergone quite some changes. The meta has gotten a little bit faster. Previously, the Aachen was like a decent option on this map, but it's just a bit slow. Now players may be opting for the mind work from the HRE here, and we'll see what Wam's doing, because yesterday he went for the Aachen and it just did not look that great, but maybe it just wasn't a good showing. Maybe it was a matchup issue. Maybe Vortex just had something great for him in that match.
Oh, what's that? Is that a scout going across the middle? I was starting to think there for a moment it might be a villager going for an aggressive barracks, but no, it won't be. So of these two civs, Wam kind of knew he was going to be forced into playing HRE. So he said, I don't want to play against Zushi, I want to play against IBID here. So even though IBID do have cheaper docks, what don't they have that Zushi have? The ability to play a Dark Age game. They don't want to be making a barracks. It slows them down way too much. What are also they potentially weaker than Zushi at? A feudal fight. Like when you've got Zugnu on the field, that can really be a bit of an imbalanced situation, and it is going to be a barracks early on. So already thinking about these things, MarineLorD will try and get up maybe a few docks, but he has to realize as well that he doesn't want to take that early fight in the Dark Age, and maybe thinking, well, if you are going to be going to barracks, that is very, very likely. I don't really want to overcommit to the water, because then I'm just behind and losing all my docks.
Yeah, it's probably expected here to see the barracks from the HRE. It's a pretty nice opening for them. We'll see if MarineLorD Scout is able to spot this. It is now moving around past that dock. This is a critical moment for his Scout. He'll see the canceled barracks, and that might give him some indication that something could be up, and surely he's about to spot the barracks from Wam here. And he does.
Yeah, no gold being mined from this base, and MarineLorD probably thinking, you know what, I'm very happy I didn't go too greedy here, because right now we see he's not gathering wood at all. Or he's just switching to it, but he's got enough food here, so taking those guys off the sheep there, did not go for the mill, just realizing, hey, I'm not going to commit too much. Going for the reinforcement wing over here, Winston. That is cool. That means he's going to be able to produce Desert Raiders for free. Granted, one at a time, and pretty few and far between, but still, that's going to be able to deal with these spearmen pretty darn quickly.
Yeah, and just getting a few of them for free leaves your macro open to a lot of things. You can kind of do as you wish. On the back of it, you can make, sometimes you can go for a stable and add horsemen. You could go your own archers or spearmen as well. Things just sort of are flexible when you have these units to deal with this early aggression. The timing is a bit awkward at times because it does take a while for Ubits to age up and then a while to get that first reinforcement out. But once you have it, the spearmen should be no issue. Wam has decided to stop at 3 spearmen, which is just enough to be pretty dang annoying against that dock.
Pretty dang annoying. Now his scout is in the main base of MarineLorD, so we'll be able to get good vision on which wing he's up against. And these players are so good that seeing that wing over there, he knows it's a military wing. Now that could also be a blacksmith wing, which has been getting a little bit more, you know, play time and what have you, meaning that, hey, a feudal fight could be among us. But those Desert Raiders will be able to be on the field very quickly. I'm not entirely sure about the Desert Raider choice here, but this is MarineLorD. I'm not going to question him.
Yeah, he has a lot of strategies for a lot of situations. I wonder how much this matchup would have been practiced. I don't know if this matchup on Frisian was in the practice rotation for either player. Maybe Wam knew this was an option, but as we said, with the draft changing so recently, it might just be that this is starting to be some pretty quick, on-the-fly strategic decision-making, because what can you do? You can't plan for everything. There are simply too many matchups, and we might be in for some real spice here. Things could get really crazy really fast as, yeah, we're probably not going to be going by the book very shortly.
No, we've got to wait as well and see which age up Wam's going to go for, because, you know, MarineLorD's cards have been revealed, but Wam's still yet to age up. Going for that second dock, does now have the gold available, And it's going to be a mine walk here, so that means you'll be able to get upgrades very quickly. 7 upgrading it as well, going for some power docks. That dog could be a real thorn in his side if it starts attacking that worker as well, which it does.
Oh, the wolf on the vill thing. Oh, poor Wham. That villager just has to run super far away to get the wolf de-aggroed, and the scout pretty happy with that moment.
It definitely will, and there is a Desert Raider now on the field, meaning that where is that guy actually? Coming out here just to secure this dock. Another villager has been moved out as well. Remember, Ibid docks are significantly cheaper. Wam does have a few units out in the field. And
Double stable.
He must know that this is a potential for a play as well.
Full Desert Raider.
Full Desert Raider.
Full Desert Raider against HRE, which I think it actually works pretty well against the mine work. Now, there is the follow-up into archers for HRE, which might be the play, but the Desert Raider just does pretty well against... I mean, you got all pikes. It's just so good.
So the thing about Mine Walk, it's not necessarily going to be for owl pikes. It's going to be about getting archer upgrades very quickly,
Yes.
I'd imagine. And if you're going for archer play and you've got a bunch of Desert Raiders, you can then go into very quick horsemen as well. So the way that MarineLorD's playing, it's uncomfortable to go up against. It's awkward. It's weird. Now, it's all about how fast these guys scout each other out.
The
Is that
villager
gonna...
has been pretty low. He will go home. He will go home indeed.
No kill on that Villy. Lives to see another day. Does head back home. But that does definitely slow down dock play and dock production. So right now, Wam leading on the eco front. Is going to start working on some upgrades as well, getting lumber harvesting going. He's got the docks going as well, faster than his opponent. And these are just some of the things that can be very helpful for you as a HRE player. Because again, are you going to be happy about this situation? I'm a bit worried for Wam that no units are being made just yet. And MarineLorD does have 5 Desert Raiders out, 2 horsemen and more. That's going to be that's a risky play. That is a very risky play.
This is a risky play against the Desert Raider Horseman combination of MarineLorD, especially as he seems to have tempo on the map with the mobile units. He is both defending his dock villagers and denying the docks of Wham at the same time. Is Wham, does he have a potent strategy here? Hiding a villager in the south here, HRE, does he just have the chops to keep up with the Ayubids here? MarineLorD looking solid in this opening so far.
Yeah, and I mean, the army he's gone for as well is very awkward. It's very mobile as well. Like, the fact that you have those Desert Raiders on the field means that horsemen are going to be far less effective. Yeah, your spearmen as HRE are faster, but getting an army out to deal with this and stop this dock bleeding, it's going to be hard.
2 stables from Wham.
Getting owl pikes will be, like you talked about it earlier, getting owl pikes for the horsemen is also going to be a pretty nice deal. We'll kind of negate that camel debuff a little bit.
Yeah, but the Desert Raiders against horsemen,
they do a lot of damage.
Melee a bit, and they do take a lot of damage back, but they deal so much damage on the front. If MarineLorD feels like he has the numbers, he could just go for the throat here. The economy of Wham, he's massively invested in these pawns just recently. Remember, we're just barely tickling the feudal age here, and the horsemen for both players going to clash over essentially the last 2 docks of Wham.
Yeah, this is really a lot of mobility out of MarineLorD and a lot of firepower as well. Having this big switch where you can make them go range or melee to take down the docks much faster. And all of a sudden, that eco advantage that Wam did weasel himself out here, kind of diminishing. And on the other side of things, it does look like MarineLorD has been spreading docks. There is a little red blip on the minimap that might be looking around to deny and see what he can do. But already, I feel that Ayubid is doing a good job of just being the bully.
That sneak Vill that went to the south, I think, built a house and has now gotten up 2 docks, and we'll see if MarineLorD scouts that. Typically, he's very good at keeping on top of that, but right now, I believe his scout is in this main army, trying to spot when the horsemen and the spearmen engage. So Wham trying to play it sneaky, trying to get some advantages elsewhere on the map because he knows he can't hold his own base right now. MarineLorD just going to take more and more fishing out of the equation for Wham while he's forced to rebuild it on the back of this. The horsemen going to clash here, but the...
Oh, I mean, this is really nice out of MarineLorD. They're both trying to utilize their units as good as possible.
Whoa.
Fighting out in the open, though. If these horsemen get a wraparound so the spear can get on top of these Desert Raiders, that'll be brutal. Lovely focus fire out these Desert Raiders, utilizing their very quick attack and spin. I'll tell you what, Wam is doing a good job of keeping most of his units alive here, but now he's out in the open. I'm not sure if Wam can be here.
No, the camels could just turn at any moment. There's only 3 spearmen left. They're getting focused down. MarineLorD just falling back to the reinforcements as well. Not many units streaming across from Wam. The scouts are even involved here. This is where all the marbles, the fight will now go in favor of MarineLorD. Wam on the retreat, on the heels, but there are so many camels.
So many camels, even with +1 armor, they are able to easily clean up those spears, and that is one of the issues when you're against such a mobile army. If you're caught out on the map, there is no way back home. Going for +1 attack, I don't know if he does have owl pikes already. I'm not sure he does. Oh, he does have owl pikes already. Okay, so these units are dealing as much damage as they possibly can here.
MarineLorD scout is going south from the sacred site. Wam just invested so many docks. We can see him going south.
Yeah,
He's gonna spot the new docks. He's gonna spot that there's been a Vil sneaking in the south. And MarineLorD, he's gonna just send his units right there after Wam just invested hundreds of wood.
There is a demo being made somewhere, and there are a lot of units, and there's been a lot of chaos so far.
Could be a demo moment, but it looks like MarineLorD is so wise to it. The horseman gonna back away. The explosion not utilized in this moment. A big investment. That is 160 resources. Boom in the water and nothing to hit.
No, and I mean, yes, he's been spreading, getting a good little horseman counterattack. In small numbers, these Desert Raiders don't want to be fighting against these horsemen. MarineLorD still with a decent amount of units back home, but these are very well upgraded horsemen. Fights happening here, there, and everywhere. We've got little blinkers happening all over the minimap here, but that Desert Raider count is getting big here, Winston. Wam is doing a good job of accumulating a lot of resources here in food. 29 on food here, getting out a lot of spearmen. And against the spearman horseman mix, you do have to micro so damn well with these Desert Raiders.
Yeah, none on gold compared to 12. Of course, these Desert Raiders do cost a bit of gold, but things could not be more clear for Wam in this moment. He needs to make horsemen, he needs to make spearmen, and they need to win the game soon. And things are heating up here. MarineLorD is up 10 villagers in this game 5. Golden Age 2 even has been activated. His base building at home, feeling comfortable. Things are looking crazy. The armies could clash in the south.
Still, okay, MarineLorD does have +1 ranged attack now, but he has to be careful here, Winston, because if there is a big wraparound, if Wam can get around this army, it won't last for a long time, so MarineLorD has to make sure that he's able to run away whenever he can. Those spearmen are a bit faster than normal, and I tell you what, going to start getting some pokes going on.
Oh, big engagement for Wam. He's made so many spearmen, and so many of MarineLorD's units go down here.
7 Desert Raiders, 8 in production here. MarineLorD has 16 villagers on gold, which is a huge number. But does he have to start thinking about switching it up? As long as he has field to run, he's going to be feeling pretty okay. And again, has Wam stepped a little bit too far here? Some of these Desert Raiders are getting picked off from these spearmen that are a little bit faster than normal. And I tell you what, you do have to be so careful with these Desert Raiders. They are not cheap.
Quite an engagement for Wam. He's continuing that production, now moving villagers to gold himself, maybe thinking about some additional upgrades, feeling that the pressure is off. He was able to weather the storm. His docks did go down, a huge economic loss, but on the back of it, he seems okay, only down 10 villagers.
Yeah, Wam, or 10 eco even, including the fishing boats, but you know that MarineLorD wants to be on the south side of the map. It wants to be burning down those docks. They are more expensive for your opponent. He got it set up. They're going to last for a long time. Wam wants the attention anywhere but. That is why he's here. He's on the other side of the map. He's near his opponent. He's getting a lot of gold here, probably thinking about an age up as well. That is so many guys on gold. Even thinking about regular archers here. That must have been quite a sad archer there. And MarineLorD, he's having to fight in 2 places at once. This is when Desert Raider Micro gets very, very tricky.
Yeah, MarineLorD looks like he was actually aiming for that Castle Age. So 2 games in a row, Wam raids the gold at the perfect time.
And 6 Desert Raiders in queue. Still so much emphasis here on a feudal situation. These spearmen still able to deal quite a bit of damage, but he has to be so careful. As this army gets thinned out, it will not be able to stick around. And Wam realizing how many guys on gold there, yeah, he has to be thinking it's going to be Castle. And I tell you what, the situation doesn't get better for him. As Desert Raiders hit age 3, it gets so damn scary if you're a H3 player stuck in this kind of army. Look at this, lovely micro, focusing down these horsemen one by one. These Desert Raiders do great damage, even against these nice range armor units.
This is just looking better and better for MarineLorD. The number's just not there, but Wam maybe was thinking about going Castle Age, has 600 gold and nothing to really spend it on at this moment. Just sticking with the plan of Horseman, Spearman, and Logistics is coming in. That's going to be massive. Relic grabbing on the field, also healing. We've seen a lot of these Desert Raiders are very hurt, and them getting healed up here very quickly, mind you, by these the Dervishes could look amazing for MarineLorD. And the Prelate goes down, the economy under attack.
This is very scary now because MarineLorD, he's looking strong, he's looking fierce. There's a lot of villagers out on the map. Wam does have Wheelbarrow available, but now that MarineLorD's come over here, knowing the army's somewhere in the main base, he can start picking off the villagers, but also working down to the south, away from his base while he's taken up, and close to where the docks are. Lots of the food income.
Yeah, Wam once again sort of forced to defend his base by charging into death with his army, just sending them forward, saying, I need you to buy me just a little more time, please. But MarineLorD will have none of it. He will not even let these spearmen hit him. Potentially, ooh, well, I spoke too soon, but MarineLorD still whittling down these numbers so effectively. And Logistics Swing is only a minute away.
Oh, this is brutal for Wam. I mean, you said buying time, but buying time for what? It's his opponent that has time on his side. Logistics means he's going to be grabbing relics. Hatchery really want relics. The eco is so much better for higher bid as well. So many guys on gold.
Rams!
On Rams, that's going to make short work of these docks, and that is one advantage of having that Desert Raider wing. Even your camels can start producing siege.
Yeah, just 30 seconds. Wam will hear the sound, hear the news. Golden Age Tier 3 even is in. So many bonuses are accumulating for MarineLorD. Things are just looking better and better for the reigning champion to hold his title. Wam making one last charge here, potentially trying to get us around on all of these Desert Raiders, but it's just not enough. MarineLorD just whittles away once again.
He's whittling down those spearmen, and if he gets rid of all of those, age up has happened. The face of Wam probably in despair right now. The webcams are obviously a little bit later on the front, keeping a few spearmen in this stealth forest here, but the upgrades are coming online. Relics will start getting grabbed. There are more Desert Raiders in total than any number of military on the field for Wam. And I tell you what, soon they're going to get upgraded pretty massively here with that veterancy.
And Camel Lancers as well going to be the next unit of choice for MarineLorD. He switches several to melee mode and just takes the bite. He says, you've been chasing me around. Now I want to take the fight to you, Wam, he says. MarineLorD now running down what remains of Wam's army, looking for the kill, looking for it all.
And you see that bit of disappointment on the face of Wam here, realizing that maybe his time has come to an end here. He's made it to the final, but once again, MarineLorD being a bit crazy there with his Desert Raiders, but they have all turned silver. This means that they are upgraded, they are a lot stronger. The fights have not been fair thus far. MarineLorD taking this fight here, doing incredibly well, and I think this is it, ladies and gentlemen. MarineLorD is our champion here in Game 5, match point.
Once again, he does it.
The three-peat, the Wololo undefeated, undisputed champion of Red Bull Wololo. 3 times in a row. This time he was taken to the very end. The first time he's ever dropped in the final of Wololo. But what a performance from our Victor and from our second placer as well. We'll hear what the man has to say. Take it away, Zoe.
Thank you so much. Everyone, give it up for our champion, MarineLorD. Another trophy for your trophy case. But MarineLorD, this was unprecedented because Wam did push this. He really made you work so hard for it. What made this game so close?
I mean, to be fair, I was expecting him to do worse because that was the same quality as he gives in practice. And in practice, it's always pretty much 2-3 or 3-2, and with parties the whole months. So I was expecting him to have some nerves and like not be as ready as me, but it went toe to toe, and I think every game that he won, he had a better sieve, and every game that I won, I drafted better, I think. So, and yeah, he played very well.
Do you feel that pressure? Because people do expect you to sweep it cleanly and like play so dominantly. Does that play in your head once you're actually on the back foot or once your opponent manages to even out a series?
No, I really don't care. I won enough trophies, so I know I just want to have fun, so I don't really put pressure on myself. And yeah, I just try to have fun, and it was very fun to have such a close 3-2 against Wam.
You couldn't have asked for a better final. You guys made it so exciting. Now, MarineLorD, before I'm going to let you lift that trophy that is rightfully yours after this victory, any final words to the people who have been following and supporting you on your journey?
I mean, thanks everyone for the support. Thanks my team, Gentlemates. Thanks to all my sponsors. Thanks to my family. Thanks to my cats. And yeah, thanks to everyone else here. You are a lot. So yeah, thanks everyone.
I'll take that one from you. And now, MarineLorD, this is your big moment. Everyone, MarineLorD!
Champion of Red Bull Wololo, Age of Empires 4, MarineLorD!
I could not hear him in my ear. I have no idea.
I just needed this. Well, let's keep the energy up, my friends. What an incredible final we've just seen. Before we get fully settled, how about we put our hands together for our valiant runner-up, Wam, as well. 3-2. He went down swinging. He gave us a hell of a show. Well done, Wam. All right, as we set things up and get ready for the next stage of the proceedings, we have I am somewhat flattered to tell you, have received several requests to replay the sea shanty bit from earlier. Very pleased to hear you all enjoyed my singing so much, or maybe everyone's just got the song stuck in their head and this is the only way they're going to get it out. In any case, we're going to play it again, so please enjoy from the HMS Londinium filmed earlier this week, the Wololo Sea Shanty.
Below deck, by lantern glow, on biscuit hard and pea soup slow, we filled our bowls and raised a cheer, for Red Bull Wololo was drawing near. Oh, gather round and hear the tale of captains bold and kingdoms frail, of banners bright and iron will, and relics fought for blood to spill. Now cast your mind back to the year of our king, when the bells of the world had ceased to ring. 2,000 years and 20 more, the great ship Londinium spied the shore!
Land ho!
Out of the mist the governor, yo, dealt the very first winning blow. He raised the trophy to the virtual skies and claimed for the east the maiden prize. Hey! Yo ho, Wololo, to the Royal Albert Hall we go. Through wind and rain, Germany to Spain, into London town we roll. Yo ho, Wololo, hear the seeds of legends grow. Red shine, walls align, and the crimson rivers flow.
Then Leary took took the captain's wheel with fingers fast and nerves of steel. Then Doubt rose up to claim the prize with castle lie within his eyes.
Then the ship made land on German shore. At Heidelberg's gate, we called for war. The Viper struck with crown of flame in desert sands and halls of fame. Yo-ho, Wololo, to Royal Albert Hall we go. In the train from Germany to Spain, into London town we go. Yo-ho, Wololo, hear the seas how the engines grow. The red shine, walls alive, and the crimson river flows. We sailed her south through Spanish lands after Tato won with steady hands.
At El Renado's walls of stone, young Hera claimed the Spanish throne.
Now the ship is moored in London mud to settle the score in sweat and blood. Beneath the Albert Dome so high, we'll watch the Wololo banners fly. Yo!